Well, hi everyone. My name is Bruce Lombardo, and with me today is the ever lovely Janet from another planet.
Hello.
We just finished
The
watching.
queen of the Amazon women today.
She
Go
pretty
ahead.
much is like in heels. She's around 6 foot tall, which is taller than me. I'm at the average height of the world, 5'6", and
I'm 5'9".
yes, Janet's 5'9", but she's 6 foot in heels. So we just watched this movie with our friends and saw a great classic, a very good skit comedy classic called Amazon Women on the Moon.
Yep.
Janet, have you ever seen this before?
No, I hadn't, and I can see why now. But it was funny. I laughed a lot. We all laughed a lot, but it was great. I loved the opening scene. I was rolling with Arsenio Hall.
I felt sorry for him.
I did too, but it was so good. He is so slapstick funny. I mean, he's really, really good at improvisation. And I thought it was great. I was laughing. He was wonderful. Really made me laugh.
I saw the beginning of this movie when I was a young boy when it was on HBO, and it was over at my grandparents' house. We had a family over. Hey, Papa Cotton, how you doing? I'm glad you're here, sir. Papa Cotton, if you want in, let us know. Janet, if he messages you, give him a StreamYard link. He has a pass.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I will.
And Baron G Rock saying what all men are thinking. Woohoo! The girls are out to play. Thank you, Janet.
Yeah, I have not been back to my home planet for a while.
Well,
I like men. That's why.
Get the sausage warmed up for you whenever you decide to take your course that way. You saw this movie just now. I've seen this movie partially before. This is one of those great films that like you can't watch it around family when you're like under the age of 12, which I was at the time. Holy cow. The first scene is Arsenio Hall getting attacked by everything in his apartment, which is pretty family friendly. Like,
yep.
This is about as good as it gets. This movie is so good as it shows you just how talented Arsenio Hall is. And I didn't realize that until I'm watching this today. And I'm like, no wonder he's a good pick for a syndicated TV show. It's amazing to see him go at it and just get completely beaten the hell up by his apartment. And I was laughing.
It's funny how he was able, knowing it was going to happen when he first opened the soda pop,
mm-hmm.
and you could tell it went up his nose, in his mouth, and in his eyes, and everything. I wonder how many times they had to make that one scene because it was so funny. There's just no way, and he did not act like it was going to explode because I wasn't expecting it to explode. And either they did it without telling him it was going to happen, or he was just really, really good at pretending that he doesn't know what's going to happen. Because I was laughing my ass off when it happened to him. Because that hurts when stuff goes up your nose, water and stuff. If you've ever gone down like a water slide or even had your soda pop exploded in your face.
Baron G Rock was present one time. We had our friend Zach there.
Mm-hmm.
And Zach waited until I took a full swallow of Monster energy drink or Dr. Pepper, one of those two. And then Zach said something funny or did something. He did something. And I took all the water, all the pop, all the carbonated drink in my mouth. And it forced itself into my nasal cavity where I thought I had part of my sternum detached. I was in so much pain. I had to lean on a chair. I was crying. I don't remember much for the next few minutes, but no, Baron G Rock's right there laughing with everybody else. And thanks, guys. You're fucking great. You're fucking good humans. Let me tell you. love you, man. But ouch, that was a painful memory. And I don't drink carbonated drinks except for beer anymore.
Yeah, I haven't had a soda in over 12 years. And when I stopped drinking, I didn't lose 1 pound. So I thought, that would help me lose weight. But I didn't lose, so I must not have really drank a lot of soda. I just
I've seen some of your early work, and you're pretty much like you're the same size. You don't look like you're quote unquote heavy.
Well, I've never really been really heavy, or anything like that. But you put on a little bit of weight when you have a kid. So
okay.
That's
a good thing, because you're supposed to feed the child with yourself. Okay. No, this movie starts off with a bang, and Arsenio Hall just nailed it. And then the next sequence, the penthouse queen, played by Monique Gabriel.
Mm-hmm.
And she's a model going about her daily routine in Laguna, California, completely naked.
Mm-hmm.
That was the version we watched.
With her purse. She had her bag on her arm.
Oh yeah, she had her purse.
Talking about being able to walk in town and be not bothered, not harassed, and everyone ignores her, and she's totally naked. I don't know how she did it. And the men, all the men that were able to just walk by, they must have been gay.
I don't know what their problem was, but this is a movie that my mom came in to the TV to see me and my Uncle George watching this film. My uncle's probably 20.
Your uncle is the one that got you to watch this movie? Oh my God.
It was on HBO. I mean,
I know, but still, there's a lot of naughty stuff in it.
No, we didn't get to watch all of it because Mom fucking unplugs the television and then tells Grandma what's going on. And Grandma just gives this angry look to Uncle George. Everybody else in the kitchen, and me and Uncle George are in there sulking because, this was getting kind of funny. And I'm 12, and I could see humor in it. But I'm telling you, when you're 12, don't get caught with this movie. Not with that segment on. And it was just one of those things, don't do it. Don't do it, young man. You're going to hear it on the ride home with Mom and Dad. And boy, did I ever. And then Mom, of course, when you're 12, it's that cusp. For me, it was a cusp of corporal punishment or grounding. And it didn't end well at all. So, because I got both.
Well, I can see why I would do the same thing if I was a mom and walked in and saw my son or daughter watching this movie when they were young.
Now, it was on
TV, on regular TV, because I know they played it with edited version, and that was one of the trivia things I found was that the playmate that was in the movie, totally naked in those scenes, in the hot tub scene and everything, she wore lingerie in another scene, so they in the same scenes but was not naked, so that they could put it on television.
Yeah, and I complained about that part specifically to my dad. and I'm like, you remember that time Grandma and Grandpa just moved in across the street, 2 houses down from us? But remember that time on Fight Drive, Mom pretty much yelled at me the whole way home for 20 minutes because we were watching this film, and this lady was naked in church and nobody else was looking at her like it's weird. I think that'd be weird. This lady was smoking hot. She was beautiful. She's everything you want. If I walked home, if I drove this lady home on a date, you'd say, "Good job, son." And Uncle George would beat me up in the kidneys and take her for himself, because that's the type of guy he is.
Oh, well,
he was
a hot-blooded American man.
Yeah. So anyway, he was born in 61. He's of that mindset that he would have done that. He's no longer here with us, but he would have beat me in the kidneys until I would have collapsed and taken his prize. So good on him. And I would have probably let him because it's my uncle. But this guy, he's watching this film with me, and Mom comes in, unplugs the TV, and tells Grandma what's going on. Grandma just gives me and Uncle George the look. And then, because my grandma doesn't agree with mom all the time. Grandma doesn't like seeing me get, corporal punishment all the time. She thinks my mom gets, too handsy with me in that belt a lot. Dad never really beat me with a belt. Mom, on the other hand, mother was an amazing cowgirl with that leather. And she was very good with the belts. So anyway, I'm telling my dad about this film, how they have it on TV, and it's not as funny because they've lost the humor. And my dad's like, well, what's not funny about it? I said, she's in lingerie. What? She was naked in the real movie, and nobody cared. She's talking about how great it is to go to church and continue her faith as a Playboy playmate or penthouse playmate. And nobody's batting an eye at it. Nobody gives her side eye. Nobody stares at her nipple out of the corner of their eye like you would. You're in church next to that on the pew.
They did a really good job. That's what I was saying. The gentleman that they hired, that like sitting right next to her in the church pew, I didn't notice that he even noticed that she was, nude, even though I know he knew. He was probably inhaling really heavily, like trying to smell at least, since he was sitting right next to her. But who knows? Unless it was a real life husband. Now they're able to, for some reason, not notice their wives naked.
Wow, no comment. That just completely that just completely solved my questions about things. Because I'm like, oh, my wife's naked, no big deal, whatever. Wait, what, Bruce? Your wife?
I don't know why that is, but for some reason, their wife being naked is not the same thing as seeing a lady on TV or streaking or something. Why is that different? Is it because it's different?
Yeah. It's the wife. Whatever. I can see it anytime I want to. No, you can't. Your wife is only going to get naked so many times before she gets bored and starts buying D cells.
Yeah, that's right.
Or gets a boyfriend.
Play with it while you have it.
Yes. Yes, definitely.
As much as you can.
Exactly. So Monique Gabriel, for those of you that don't know who she is a quite a stunner, born in 62. That's a good year. 62, 63, some good years for American babes. And she was Penthouse Pet of the Month in 1982, the Christmas month. And she was in Bachelor Party, which is the shittiest movie Tom Hanks has ever been in. And I never
saw that one
either. I happily ripped the shit out of that movie with Nick on Toxic Tuesday, because I think that movie is great, except for Tom Hanks. Like Tawny Katane and Tom Hanks, you could just take those two fucks right out of the movie, and the movie would gain a star. Like, I just absolutely hated Hanks in that movie. I just wanted to punch him in the face. Like, get the fuck off camera. Anyway, she's in Bachelor Party, and then she's in a great film called Deathstalker 2, and we'll talk about that a little bit later too, because Deathstalker 2 is really bad American fantasy film. It's Deathstalker 2, Duel of the Titans. And if you've ever wanted to see what a no-budget Argentinian fantasy comedy movie is like, there we go. We'll watch that later on this year. John Lazar and Maria Skokas is in it. It's bad. It's a bad film, but it's fun. It's so fun that they even made a fucking RPG out of it in the early to mid 2000s. Great fucking start of the movie though. First two skits out the gate. I'm laughing. I shouldn't be. I'm kind of feeling bad because I'm watching this movie with Janet. Janet's not here with me. She's not in the theater with me. I can Pee Wee Herman if I want to, but you know that feeling when you're with somebody like a good friend or your bestie, and like, man, I'm feeling kind of funny. Damn it. You're alone in your house and streaming on a watch party. It's one thing.
But I could laugh out loud. Yes. Whatever. No, it's the part where Arsenio Hall, was going through his whole apartment, and that someone keeps calling. Has that ever happened to you? The same person keeps calling, ask for someone, even though you said there's no one by that name that lives here. When other shit's going on, like you're trying to cook pasta or something, you keep burning yourself, and then the phone rings and you answer it, and then it says person, hey, is so-and-so there? And you go, no, and you hang up. It's before we had caller ID. You know what I mean? So that whole thing, I just thought was just I just loved it. It's one of my favorite scenes, the opening scene. It was just so good. I mean, one thing after the other, bad things happening. And then you see him get out of his car before he goes in, and he walks by, and there's a nice gentleman, with a uniform on, sweeping the street. I've never seen that in my life. So I think I didn't know if it was making fun of it or what. Were there really people that wore uniforms and cleaned our roads and sidewalks in cities? So I don't know, but I just thought that was funny. And then he goes up to his apartment, and all these terrible things happen. He's starting off with the Coke or whatever, spraying up his nose and everywhere. And then his tie getting stuck in the garbage disposal. How scary, and it looked like a real sink, because when he was pulling up with his neck like that, trying to reach the remote, or the little flipping switch on the wall, it lifted, like I a few times tried to pick up the handle, on the spickety thing, and I couldn't get it to move. It was like locked or something. That's when I've had to get a new one. But during that, and I've seen it, and it just seemed like the sink reacted the same, like a real sink. So that would have been kind of scary to know that your tie is stuck in there. And if it keeps eating it, it's going to choke you to death if you can't get it off. So that was it was just so realistic to me. The bad luck, one thing after the other, all happening to him. And then the dumbass that keeps calling his apartment. And then he ends up falling out the window and laying on the ground. And the guy sweeping the ground doesn't even, he just looks up in the air like, what happened? What's going on? But yeah, that was a funny, I laughed through the whole thing. And you shouldn't laugh, I guess. That's probably why you will never see anything like this ever made again. There'll be no remakes of this movie.
They will never remake this movie, which we both talked earlier about how this movie was supposed to be the sequel to the Kentucky Fried movie, which we have yet to review. We should sometime. But like, holy shit, this movie they could not secure the rights so they could get the name on their sequel, the Kentucky Fried movie or Kentucky Fried sequel. They could not do that. And so they just went at it, and there's a lot of callbacks to KFC or Kentucky Fried Movie, KFM, but it's not the same. There's a little level of difference in this movie. I think this movie had like a $5 million budget. The Kentucky Fried Movie had less of a budget, but they had like more just lightning in a bottle when they filmed that. And that's the best way I can put it, because Kentucky Fried Movie, you watch it, and for the most part, like throughout most of the film, like definitely like 75 to 80% of the film, you were just fucking laughing and rolling. And this one here has probably about a 70% laughter rate, 70 to 65%. There's some aspects of it that are just not that funny. I found the Murray and Videoland portion to be great. I don't know why, but I just found that to be so good and heartwarming. That it was like a Honeymooners-esque clone. And then seeing whenever Murray was like being teleported around by his wife with a remote, like he ends up with Monique Gabriel. Honey, meet me right here.
Yeah, and he was kissing her, and then she changed the channel and put him on Disney Channel. But what was really acute about that is I had an instant flashback when you first see him sitting there in his boxers and his tee, with the little TV tray in front of him and his little recliner, and the wife sitting there and she's wearing her PJs. I swear to God, I saw that every night with my parents. You know what I mean? So it was just adorable. I just thought it was so cute. And he gets sucked into the television set, and then how the wife is goofing around with him. That was like, that would be my mother, toying with him and trying to put him on the worst channels possible. That's what my mom would do if something like that would have happened to him. I just thought that was really cute. It was a really adorable scene, and it did really make me think of the old, TV shows like The Honeymooners, and what was that other one with the guy that had a son-in-law and he called him Meathead? What was that show?
All in the Family.
Yeah, All in the Family. That's what it reminded me of.
DeLuise's kid, I think.
So I just thought it was really cute. That was a really good little what would you call these, skits?
Almost like a skit or an homage.
Yeah, it was like little skits of like the Twilight Zone or something, and they just, made a modge podge of little things, and then they threw little commercials in here and there. I just thought it was really a unique perspective of Hollywood, and they also made fun of Hollywood in it, and they made fun of the FBI. They made fun of a lot of different things that there's just no way they could get away with doing it today. They just couldn't do it. That's
right here. We talked a little bit about this. I don't know if he was in the back room with us whenever we were talking about it, but
yeah, I printed it out. It's like 4 pages. Yeah, 4 pages of actors and stuff that were in this movie that all played parts in the commercials or different skits. I was really surprised the talent that was in the. For how much money? You said it was what? $5 million. $5 million to get 4 pages of actors. And one thing that was really interesting was the fact. Let me see if I can find her real quick. I thought I highlighted her. Damn it. I'll have to go through it. But there was a lot of people that went on there uncredited. They didn't get any credit for being in it.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And the reason, what's cool about that is that means that they don't get any kind of like residual checks and things like that. But they had they were a well-known actor. So when you're uncredited, usually that's what it means. It means that you don't get any special. You just got your check, whatever it was that they gave you, and that's it. So if you're named in there, then you're going to get something more than the other actors and stuff. But I was surprised how many there were. There was over a page and a half people that weren't even credited in the movie that were big names that I remember. But
the Lou Jacoby and his wife are Murray and Selma, and they're tripping through this entire freaking film. Like he's staggering through parts of sets and stuff. You can tell it's all green screen, like whenever they're doing the And I don't think back in the day when it was at 480p at best resolution, if you have a boob tube television, you're not going to see that little line probably. But if you had something like the projection TVs of the early 2000s or later, you definitely see it. That was good. The fucking doctor scene with Griffin Dunne being a complete dick doctor.
Oh, yeah. God, that was so stupid. And who was the actor that played her husband at the hospital? I didn't recognize him at all from anything.
You don't remember? Okay, you don't remember that garbage show called 30 something, do you?
No.
Okay.
I just didn't recognize the guy at all. Sorry, I'm getting a drink until 30. Oh, that's him. I recognize that picture.
Yeah, he was in St. Elsewhere, 30 something. He did 8 is Enough for a little bit. He was in Split Image. He was in Children of the Corn, which I sadly remember. His wife, at the time, by the way, is Michelle Pfeiffer. So there's the reason why.
In the movie or in real life?
In both.
Oh, really?
At the time of the filming, he married her in 81. They divorced in 88. And then he got married to Nicole Deputron, whoever that is. I have no idea. But he's in. Go ahead.
I just wanted to interrupt for a second. I was going through trying to read some of these actors that were uncredited, and Robert Loggia.
Robert Loggia.
Yeah, he played. He was uncredited. Bela Lugosi was uncredited because they used archive footage. But what was funny is that the USC Trojan Marching Band, that was their real name. They were not credited either. No. Christopher Wolf, who played the Titan Man, the mascot.
Yes.
Character, he was not credited. So there was quite a few. Jenny Auger, remember her from the American Werewolf in London?
Yep.
She was in the movie. She played Cleopatra.
Sorry.
And she was not credited. So see, there's quite a few actors in this movie that were uncredited actors. Which
there's 3 skits that are on YouTube
Mhm.
that you can go hunt down. One's got Dick Miller in it. He's fucking with a ventriloquist dummy. But there's 3 skits, and like Jenny Gutter's in one of them. There's some skits that are not in this film, but they were filmed for this film, and they made it onto YouTube. They made it into deleted scenes on Laserdisc and DVD. It's kind of funny because that schlep Peter Horton is also, he plays Jamie in this really bad romantic comedy, which is not a bad romantic comedy. It was actually at the time really good, but trying to watch it today, it's going to lose a lot of the chrome on you'll peel chrome off of it. It'll lose some of the fun, but he's actually in this movie as a potential date for Miss Bridget Fonda in this film.
Mm-hmm.
And Peter Horton, yeah, he plays Jamie. He's this guy, I just like to ride my 10-speed. So if you want to see Peter Horton in a completely emasculated role, this is after his divorce from Michelle Pfeiffer, which, no offense, but Nicole Deputron, you're not going to stack up to Michelle Pfeiffer. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry at all.
When I saw her in this movie, in the hospital scene, I was thinking, oh my God, we have got to do the Witches of Eastwick movie.
Really?
Yeah. Don't you think that'd be a fun movie to review?
Well, I guess
Susan Sarandon, Cher, and Michelle Pfeiffer as his wives. Remember?
When do you want to do it?
We'll have to do it in October or sometime near there. Scary, because it's for scariness, or getting close to that. But it's a good drama, and I like Jack Nicholson.
All right, October 6th it is. Let me pencil it in.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna send that link in here again. Let me see if it'll work real quick. Okay. I put it in the chat for him because I sent it to him on X, but he says he needs it here. I hope I did it right. Oh, never done it that way before. I hope it works. Oh, I understand. I'm speaking because I'm reading. I'm not typing it. Sorry. I can't do 2 things at once very much, but I hope it works. But yeah, I was really surprised. And then when the scene came up with the woman whose husband had died, the actor that was laying in the casket, he looked really familiar. And it was really bad makeup job they did on him. The dead guy. I mean, they made him look overly, made up or whatever. Maybe they did that on purpose because it was supposed to be comical because he had a wake or whatever you want to call it and a roast. It was a wake and a roast or whatever you call it for his service. And I just thought it was funny. I mean, I kind of felt guilty. It was like a guilty pleasure to laugh at somebody's funeral. But the black guy that got up there, the last speaker, he was funny. I really liked him, but I didn't know who he was. I didn't recognize him or anything. But some of the stuff he's talking about, this is the first time you've been stiff since your wedding night or something. It was so...
You got Steve Allen, Henry Youngman.
It was so funny. I was rolling, laughing at that wake. It was just, had Rip Torn was on there. I mean, it was 1, 2, 3, like a real good roast that my mom used to love watching those ones with Dean Martin, the Dean Martin celebrity roast or whatever that was. Oh, my mom would laugh and laugh. She just her best friend Juanita would come over and they'd watch those. They'd like set it up like a private, greeting or whatever. And it was just, I just had so many like deja vu moments of things watching this movie that made me think of my mom so much because my mom loved comedy and just little things that reminded me of it. It was great.
Papa Cotton, if you want to jump in here, I put a stream yard in that link.
Yeah, come join us and talk about your movie that you love. But yeah, that wake was just, and they were doing confetti and just everything. And then the fact that she was crying and the 2 boys sitting by her, I guess were her children with this
Mm-hmm.
guy,
Yeah,
and
boy and
then
girl, I believe.
even the pastor or the that was running the thing, he was laughing, and the guy, the assistant that helps move the casket and everything, he was laughing. Everyone was laughing except for the wife. Now she was crying and being real sad. So when they came to get her to take her up there and say that it was her turn to do her speech, and then she started cutting everybody down, I thought it was great. I thought they did a great job. And if her husband was, if he was really that funny and that comical and wanted a wake like that, where people could roast him and stuff, that he must have had a really good personality. So she was lucky woman to have had him as long as she did, however long that was in the movie. But it was funny. That was a funny little skit, I thought.
The hospital portion's crazy.
Oh, he wants your channel link. He's not going to get on here with us.
Okay, hold on.
Sorry,
sir.
I thought that was the link that you wanted me to share with him.
I did, because I wanted to have him join up with us and discuss. But okay, that's very, very fine, very fine. Let me get you the YouTube channel, sir.
But that was really funny. And then the scene where that one was really good. Oh my God, what a great prank. We could do that today and do a prank on somebody that way. Was the one where the guy's like, "You don't have a date tonight, do you? It's Saturday night." He goes,
Yeah.
"What's your name?" And he said, Roy. Was it Roy? Is that what he said his name? Or Jay or something? I can't remember what his name was. But so he looks on the rack, and he goes down the letter, and he finds the one with that guy's name on it and gives it to him. So he takes it home, and you see him walking in his living room with a bowl of popcorn and a drink, and he sits in his chair, and he's got the TV going, and we're all watching it. And then you see this woman over there, and she's like, "Hi, Roy. I've been waiting for you. Come on in."
Yeah, that's Mark McClure playing Ray.
Okay, yeah, Ray. That's what it was. And so they go in, and she's like, "I've got dinner ready," as you can tell. And she shows the table. She goes, "I'm not really hungry for that right now." You got that? And then she takes him in the bedroom. She's like, "Help me get my dress unzipped." And he gets up, and he's like, and he realizes it's not real. It's a video or whatever. I just thought that was great. I just loved the whole
amazing
thing.
That they would. It was a nice piece of fiction, I thought.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I mean, it was like an interactive video that you could do. There was just taking off the subject a little bit, but I watched a documentary, and it had a young man. This was like a year and a half ago when I watched it, and he had murdered his mom and his dad. I think maybe his sister too, but his brother was still alive. They were all grown. He was still living with his parents because he had racked up all their credit cards for some bimbo that was online. It wasn't even a real woman or real, girlfriend. And he was paying her money to pretend like, to do stuff like that, to talk to him and say, "How was your work day?" All that kind of stuff, whatever. And he was sending her hundreds of thousands of dollars. So apparently the parents took his cards away, and they were going to have him arrested or whatever. So he killed them. So that really does happen. What that kind of terrible thing. But that whole thing I thought was really, really funny, because if you could do that and just you change the name of the guy and do, but I wouldn't end it the way they did it. You know what I mean? In that with the Andrew Dice Clay shooting himself in the head, and then the cops really come to his house and arrest him. I thought that was a really funny little skit that they did. It was very detailed and everything. But the kid watching, eating the popcorn, was like, his facial expressions and stuff were just adorable. I thought he did a really, really good job.
Hey, you're good, lady. You're good, sir. I thought this movie, there's a part in this film right after that where you got Joe Pantoliano. He's talking about using carpet to staple onto your skull for hair removal or for hair loss treatment.
Yeah, for hair plugs, basically, so you have hair.
So back in the 2004, we had that Lurch, John Kerry. He was trying to be president, and there was an urban legend at the time around Mattoon, Illinois, where I was running D&D, where there were friends that were like, "Man, John Kerry's first court case he he was trying to get this guy millions of dollars because he had bought a hair loss treatment and they sent him carpet and he applied it to his scalp and
Yeah.
his head got infected. And I've been trying since I saw that. I've been in the background looking for John Kerry's early court cases. Please tell me it's true. Please, please, please tell me it's true. And I can't find anything. So I'm having to think like, God damn it. This thing I've been carrying around for 20 years. This hope I had that John Kerry really had the mother of all fuck ups for tort law. It's not true. I can't find any evidence of it. Maybe if somebody else has
Or it's
better
been scrubbed because he was embarrassed, you know. Maybe he paid to have it taken off. People do it all the time. They pay these big companies to go through and scrub all the bad information about them on the web. You can do that.
Yeah. Today's special episode is brought to you by Delete Me.
The one thing though I didn't like, the worst thing about this movie to me was the one scene or the girl, what's her name, the famous Playboy playmate that was naked.
Oh, you're talking about Monique Gabrielle.
Okay, that was just too far over the top for me. I wanted to get into it, but I couldn't. Whenever she spoke, she was like, "Oh, I don't know what to say. Whatever. I love my house and I want to be a good girl." And, all that baby talk. Oh, this made me want to throw up. I just couldn't stand it. I've met so many women like that. It drives me crazy. And I have a deep voice, I guess, for a girl, but, when they do that fake voice, it drives me nuts. And I've seen so many girls do that. And she's calling, like, what was that movie again? Victoria, when she won that Academy Award for it. What was her name? Leslie Ann Warren.
Yep.
Pookie, I'm horny. She had that irritating voice. I just hate it. When I see so many women that do that shit, it just drives me nuts. I mean, it's okay to try to be sexy, but to put the baby talk in is just, it just makes me ill. I just can't stand it. So I just hardly could watch that scene.
I'm asking Pat to help us out and give us a good Jennifer Tilly movie to watch. That way I can hear you gnash your teeth the whole time.
Yeah, she does have that, but she's more natural when she does it. You know what I mean? She doesn't seem as annoying to me as this girl did. This girl just seemed like she was putting it on, laying it on real thick, for the character or something. I don't know. I bet she really doesn't talk like that.
My name's Jennifer Tilly. I'm looking to have my
Like,
filmography reviewed by Janet from another place.
Can you turn the fan on for me? I'm really sweaty.
For those of you with XY type chromosomes, you may be experiencing a little tightness in your pants or shorts. Go ahead, Janet.
It's just so bad. If any of you guys like girls like that, you guys really need to think about it, because that's the fakest shit ever. Because anybody can do it if they want to, but you don't want a girl that talks like that all the time. She's going to cost you a buttload of this. I can tell you that for sure. Because remember, I'm a tomboy, and I have lots of friends that are bimbos like that, and it's not worth it in the long run.
What did you really think about the part where David Alan Grier and B.B. King were talking about blacks without soul?
I thought it was great. I loved it. I loved everything with David Alan Grier. He is just so freaking talented. He can really sing. He's funny. I absolutely fell in love with him when he was on In Living Color and he did the Men on Film.
Yes.
Him and Damon Wayans. Oh my God, he's so funny.
God, 2 steps up in a circle.
I love him. He's just funny and talented. It takes a lot, though, to be believable and be able to do that and do it with such precision and to sing. Okay. He can actually sing and carry a tune. So I don't know. I just really like him. I think he's funny. I loved him in Jumanji, too. I thought he was so good. He's so funny. He's just really talented.
Listen,
did you like that?
I love Jumanji, but if you boys want to see more shows on this channel with my friend Janet like this, I need you all to like, share, and subscribe, and make sure that you subscribe to Janet's YouTube. You're her friend on Twitter. You do everything you can to be Janet's best buddy, because I want Janet to be magnanimous. I want her to be huge.
Well, I don't ask in any of my videos. I never ask anyone to subscribe to my channel. I do not ask any of them.
Well, I'm going to ask you for them. Boys, men, ladies of culture, I need you to put 2 snaps up in a circle and give this the thumbs up approval. Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that Papa Cotton says he had his channel nuked.
Yeah, he said that earlier, and I'm like, what the fuck?
I'm so sorry. Hey, I got taken down for 3 weeks. So, yeah, they don't like me very much either. And I'm not even monetized or anything. They just don't like, when I start doing some of my political stuff, they don't like it.
No.
It's okay for me to, jiggle and jump around and act all goofy and stupid. But if I start saying that Joe Biden's a douchebag, then they'll take my channel down. So it's like, wow, yeah, okay. Let's talk about movies. You can talk about TNA and all that shit, but you can't talk about the truth about your president or your government. Yeah, it sucks.
Trump won. Trump won.
It's sad. I mean, yeah, I got taken down. Obviously, I had 3 strikes. My 3rd strike was the supposedly medical misinformation. The second one was because I put that Comet ping pong video up about Podesta and Hillary's emails and stuff. So it's like, and the first one was because I kept saying pedophile. I wouldn't say minor attracted persons. So, oh well.
Isn't that what a minor attracted person is a pedophile?
Well,
I guess it is, Bruce.
Not to them, but that just proves to me that, and when every survey I get, when they say, do you plan on making it blah, blah, blah through YouTube? And I'm like, as soon as I can get my people to go to Rumble, I'll see ya. I'll put nothing but chicken videos on over here or something. But, but I'm still going to do this because I love doing this. This is fun. As long as, you and I get to do it, I'm going to keep doing it because I look forward to this every week. Getting to watch a movie I hadn't seen, or getting to see an old movie I haven't seen in a long time, and hanging out and talking about it. Because I love talking, as anybody can tell. So what else about the movie can we talk about? I'm trying to remember some more of it. It was so much packed into it.
Movie is so fucking good. The Blacks Without Soul, seeing that one black lady say, as a Republican, our lives have improved so much. And
they're on a golf course in a buggy. After the whole Clinton thing, that's another thing. My mom and them were in Arkansas when Hillary and her husband ran for governor the first time, and he didn't win. And a lot of it was because he went to a golf course. He was a regular at a golf course, or attending, or whatever you call it, a member of a golf course. It was all white. It was for all white people. And so, stuff like that comes out and nobody gives a shit. And the Democrats still vote for him, even though they're blatantly racist, And then Hillary comes out and says that her mentor was that guy that was the KKK Ku Klux Klan leader, and stuff like that. And nobody cares.
Robert Byrd.
Robert Byrd,
Grand Wizard of the KKK.
It's just sickening. It's just sickening to me. I'm white, and I have lots of guy friends and girlfriends and white friends and Hispanic friends. I don't pick people because of their skin color or whether they're a man or woman. I pick up my friends because of their character, and if they make me laugh, if they're honest with me, if they're fun to be with, spend my time with. I just wish more people could do that instead of saying, well, I have to be friends with that person because they got a little D beside their name. Something is so stupid.
Colors. You can have friends of these colors. You can have friends of these colors. Nope, none of these. You can have friends of these colors. You can have friends of these colors.
Wow, you got a lot of paint.
And you can have friends of these colors, and you can have friends like these colors, especially if their hair colors like that. Mm-hmm. But if you have these friends like this, they better get down on their knees and pray and hope that DEI is kind to them. They better get some hyphenation going on. They better be part of the Wi-Fi crowd. They better accept the transgender as their lords and saviors. If they don't do that, then what's going to happen if DEI is going to come along, Bridge is going to come along. That's the big demon right now, Bridge. Y'all thinking we beat DEI. DEI is almost dead. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, nope, nope, nope. Bruce is going to show you all something. Bridge is on the horizon. Bridge is going to fuck up everything in America. America's going to get fucked up. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Bridge DEI. Okay. So, coming on the horizon, you thought that I was joking. Nope.
What is this?
WeAreBridge.com. This is the insidious new future from hell, from people who brought you Moloch worship, child transgender bullshit, from people that are giving your kids drugs, not telling you about it in their fucking public schools on your tax dollars. This is a purpose-driven community based to action focused on the workplace, workforce, and marketplace. The Bridge mission is to create a cultural shift in companies where DEI principles flow through all facets of an organization, from the C-suite and marketing through the product development, procurement, and customer service. That means the people that sell it directly to you. You'll be forced to give money to this bullshit. And this is the demon on the horizon. This is the Baal and Moloch worshippers' golden egg. This is what's going to fuck over America and Western civilization all at once. You thought you were finished with DEI? You thought that Sydney Sweeney had saved you with her big tatas? Nope. This is coming, and it's going to splooge all over your money, and it's going to get all over your kids, and your world, your Western civilization will not be the same. Long-term goal. Here it is, right here. Go ahead, take it, Mr. Klaus Schwab. Our long-term goal, with the help of our founding board members composed of DEI and business leaders, is to create a comprehensive bridge agenda for all the companies and to subsequently certify against its implementation and measure its impact. Next slide, please. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Schwab, thank you. So join us for Bridge 24, May 7th, 5th through 7th in La Jolla, California. That's where that gay guy, the governor, what's his name? Newsom? Mm-hmm. Inclusion is good for business. Yes, be part of it. Like I said, see these colors over here? Don't be part of that peach and apricot crowd. Don't you dare be no apricot. You better be dark brown. You better be a POC. Receive the most recent and impactful Bridge DEI news events and best practices once a month directly in your inbox. Fuck these people. Fuck these people. I can't wait till the Palestinian fucking demanding crowd goes over there and says, how dare you're not stopping Israel from killing Hamas? And by the way, Israel keep bombing the shit out of Hamas. I love it. I love seeing their tears. That's my fucking ketchup and fucking taters right now. Hey, Jackie Blue. How you doing, sweetheart? All right. So
the other part was the one where I'm trying to remember. I can't remember the name of the actors.
I like Rosanna Arquette and Steve Guttenberg doing the blind date.
Oh yeah, that whole dating thing. That was a really good idea, because basically every single thing that happened in this movie is really happening right now. When it comes to the dating aspect of it and stuff. It's just that they didn't have cell phones back then, did they? In 85 or 87?
They did, but you had this large phone that was the size of a small briefcase or your purse. If you're a
that's right, those bag phones.
A bag phone, and you had a suitcase in the trunk of your car.
Satellite phones.
Yes.
Because I didn't. Nobody that didn't have money. They didn't have cell phones. Because I don't remember people having any. But that's what it reminded me of, was all the different things that were happening. Like when they in the pirate scene, when they opened the treasure chest at the end. And that was a very elaborate, the whole thing with the costumes and the set. They spent a lot of time and money on that whole one, and the other one with the wake, when they were roasting the dead guy. you could tell it was very elaborate. So I wish I'd looked to see who directed each of the different segments, because
what do you want to know about?
I'd like to know about the pirate one and the wake one for sure, because they had to have been really good directors, because they really paid attention to all the details in the set and on the costumes and everything. It was just really phenomenal. You could tell that these people had an eye for everything. I mean, when they were looking at around the room, they wanted to make sure it looked a certain way. And you just don't see that in every single, you're not going to see that on a director that directs Days of Our Lives. You know what I'm saying? So that's what was good. But when he opened that treasure chest and it was filled with all the DVDs or what was it, VHS tapes? And then they took one out and they put it in the box, and it said
pirates.
Yeah, it was pirated, because they stole it. And then it showed the FBI, as warning, and they were like, "Oh, I'm really, really scared." They made fun of it. I just thought that was funny, because
So Video Pirates was directed by
right now?
Robert K. Weiss. Robert K. Weiss did that Video Pirate segment, which I thought was fucking gold. John Lando. He had to skip out because not only was he released on Bond while his trial was going on, he was making this movie. He did Mondo Condo, The Hospital Scene, Blacks Without Soul, Don No Soul Simmons, and Video Date. Now, after he did the finish up Video Date, he took off and directed the movie Three Amigos.
Yeah, my mom really likes too.
This channel, I myself personally, as much as people want to deride John Landis for the accident that happened on the set of Twilight Zone, which I've been ripped open on Nick's channel before for defending John Landis's work and his body of work throughout his many decades in film. And Red Letter Media gets grief too whenever they praise John Landis for the things he's made, because he was a director on scene during the night shoot that killed Vic Morrow and the two young ladies that were in Vic Morrow's arms. Now, every fucking one of us in 2024, every fucking one of us is told at our job that if you feel like something's unsafe, you have every right to demand we stop action, stop kinetic work, and immediately go back to the drawing board and try to figure out something safer. And during that night shoot, there was an excess. You know Mikey sues for? Janet?
No.
I don't know who that is.
Where are they at?
He's popped into the green room. Mikey, let me know in the private chat who you are before I allow you in.
I think that was because of the link that I shared.
Okay.
I was sharing it with Papa though.
Okay.
So
the entire thing about John Landis is that everybody that was there on site, all 30 people there, had the right to stop the action. Each and every one of them. It's not just John Landis's ownership of that. Everybody there is partially to blame for Vic Morrow's death, along with the two young Vietnamese ladies. And I'm sorry that some people may get upset about this, but this is the truth. Every one of us at our jobs owns safety. Every fucking one of us. Because if we're not safe, then it's on us. So those 30 people are part to blame for this. They just roasted John Landis. They took money out of his livelihood. But he's not the only one that was responsible for that, including Vic and the two young girls, which I'm sure the young girls were scared shitless, but they were thinking they were kids and had no beef. They had no ability to defend their safety. And I am very certain that's what happened from their perspective, because I was the same age. If you would have told me, like, you're going to be carried in this guy's arms when a helicopter lands and it'll be fine, no big deal, you would be scared shitless, and that would look good for film, but you wouldn't have enjoyed that filming segment no matter what. Now, everybody's had things going on that night. I understand it, but John Landis is not the one to blame, and it's a shame that happened. This is why CGI exists. This is why miniatures exist. It sucks, but I really don't have any beef with John Landis. I mean, not saying that the court was right in exonerating him or raking him over the coals for a little bit, taking his money and then saying, okay, you're free to go. No big deal. No, it's a shame about Mr. Morrow, but you're going to be a better director from here on out. And I wouldn't doubt if actually after that, that's kind of one of the things that contributed to today's safety conscious environment in film industry, because nobody wants to have that go on. Now, mind you, that was thought of on the set of The Crow. No, or more recently was it thought of on the set of Rust. But
Yes.
the set of Rust, they didn't have 30 people there. They had less than 10 people were there when you have dumbass Baldwin plinking around with a fucking gun, shooting at a goddamn director of photography.
Without checking the gun.
Yeah, and the armor was absolutely unequivocally unqualified.
I think she's been charged. I mean, she has been, convicted.
Mikey, just send us. Okay, we met before. Okay, Mikey says we met before. Janet through deleted scenes. Tony Stark of Iron. We both know Cardinal Sin. I've subbed and have. Okay, all right, Mikey. I'll bring you in. We'll talk about this.
Has he seen the movie?
Yeah. Have you seen?
Mikey, have you Women on the Moon? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I did see it. Yes.
Okay. The one thing I was going to talk about real quick was the scene with Ed Begley Jr.
The Invisible Man.
Yeah, he's sitting at the thing because remember I hadn't seen this before, so he's sitting there all wrapped up. And he's got the fake glasses and nose on, right? The Groucho Marx set, and then the other gentleman comes in and they're talking to him, and he's talking about how he solved the whole thing and he's invisible, blah blah blah. So when he starts taking off his stuff, I'm expecting him to be invisible. But then he isn't because he's nuts, he's just a crazy guy, right? I just thought that whole thing was great. And he's a lot better actor than I expected, because to be able to keep your composure and stuff when you're running around doing comedy naked is really one of the hardest things you can do in acting.
Right. Well, the first time I was knew of Ed Begley was, of course, St. Elsewhere, right? He was in the on that TV show. He was with all the other doctors and stuff, and he just looked cool and whatever. But I never knew that he was, I always thought he was just talented in TV. But then, of course, when you see him in a couple films, you're like, wow, Ed Begley Jr.? Yeah. He's just amazing. And as of Six Nations, well, I got familiar with Jennifer Tilly through obviously through the Chucky franchise, but also her sister Meg Tilly. Oh my gosh, what a talent! She is. I don't know. Sometimes I think Meg's better than Jen.
I agree with that. I'll agree with that completely.
Well, you got to remember too, it really has to do with the scripts, because look how good the two actors that were in the Marvel movies that played the Scarlet Witch and Hawkeye. Okay, and they were in Wind River, and when I saw Wind River first, okay, then I saw them in the other parts, and I was like, what happened to them? They were great. I mean, they were to me, they could have been nominated for awards. That's how good they were in Wind River together, and the way that they played off each other, and the way they played their characters in that movie. Then I saw them in their characters on that, and I was like, it was kind of a little bit of a letdown to me, because they were so good in Wind River, and they were okay as the Marvel characters. Even though I think he's still the best Hawkeye. What?
You're giving Marvel movies a lot of credit there. Hawkeye was criminally underplayed.
Well, yeah,
but I agree, because Jeremy Renner. Well, to be fair, Jeremy Renner, they didn't give him much to do, right? So, I mean, but yes, if you look at Hawkeye in the comics, okay, and then you look what Jeremy played in Avengers and all the other thing. You're right. He's criminally underrated. He's not given a lot to do. He should be doing more. And so should Black Widow. Scarlett played her really well. I think she did. And I just, but you're right. I mean, we're just not giving a lot of stuff to do in the
not
movie.
Scarlett Johansson. I'm talking about the Scarlet Witch's character.
Oh, yeah. It's Scarlet Witch.
She was one of the twins' sister. What was her name again? Elizabeth Olsen.
Yep.
Elizabeth Olsen. And they were so good in Wind River. And it's a crying shame when you can take someone that has that talent and give them a okay script, and
it's sort of a
their
mundane
fault. They're
character.
good
Right, a
actors.
mundane
It's just the script
character,
wasn't very good.
I agree. Elizabeth was underused. Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Well, you could say both of them were. Jeremy was.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Both their characters. But because I saw Wind Rivers, the only reason I noticed, someone who hadn't seen Wind River and they see them as Hawkeye and Scarlet Witch, they're not going to realize that they're lower on the totem pole in this movie compared to the talent they have, that they could be, because they weren't given a good script to give them more.
Well, the actor, who was the actor that played since we're talking about Avengers, who was the actor that played Quicksilver? I wish Quicksilver had more of a role, more of a pivotal role.
Yeah, he was good. I can't remember what his name is.
Or Disney's Marvel. Age of Ultron.
He was the Quicksilver that was in American Horror Story, the same actor. That's who I liked. He's good.
Yeah, Quicksilver was right in Age of Ultron. The guy that played Quicksilver was the brother of Scarlet Witch. Mm-hmm. So when the character,
the actor that played, I'll have to look it up real quick. Let me see.
I'll pull it up. Okay. In Age of Ultron, the gentleman that played Quicksilver is. He's not on the first page. You got to go to all cast and crew.
Yeah, I know. I use a lot of IMDb myself, Bruce. Yeah,
he's down the list. Okay, he's Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Aaron Taylor Johnson. That's him. Okay.
His most recent film was The Fall Guy, which is yet to be released. He did Bullet Train in 22.
Right. And did he do Kick-Ass, or was that the other guy?
He was in Kick-Ass as Kick-Ass.
He was, yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, Aaron Taylor Johnson, there's rumors that he is the front runner for the next James Bond, and he's young enough to play it.
I kind of hope he gets it, because he was good in The King's Man. I don't know if you saw that one or not.
I've seen Kingsman, yeah.
The third one came out in 21. That goes back to World War One. One of the best fight scenes in that movie is against fucking the Mad Prophet of Russia.
Yes.
I'm
drawing a blank right now. Very good.
But it's Ralph Fiennes and Gemma Arterton. Yeah, that's a really good film. Rasputin's played by Rhys Ifans, which I've never heard of that guy before this nor after, but he's really good in that movie. Yeah,
Rhys Ifans. Let's see if I can look him up. Yeah, he spells his name Rhysifans.
Mm-hmm. So, he was in Notting Hill in 99. He played Spike. He was in Snowden in 2016 as Corbin O'Brien.
Loved him in Snowden. Yeah.
Anonymous, he played Earl of Oxford. And The Amazing Spider-Man from 2012, he was the lizard Dr. Kirk Connors. But
that's right, Dr. Kirk Connors, right.
He played the best role in as Gregory Rasputin in The King's Man, because he just completely played the mad fucker, the mad oracle, just to the hilt. And that's a hell of a role.
Yeah, there it is, The King's Man. Yeah, I see it right in front of me. He did Hannibal Rising. Yep, I remember him in that. Let's see, Official Secrets. Yep.
One of our dirty campaigner lady says
Notting Hill. He was in Notting Hill. Yeah, great one with one of the few I liked with Julia Roberts in it. Yeah, it was good. I liked him in that one.
Hawkeye in the comics is a lower tier character. No matter how hard they push him to be top tier, he never gets a big following. And even Iron Man was middle tier for Marvel. That's a lot of people's favorites, Mr. Flady included.
I agree. Robert Downey Jr. had to play the role his way, or it couldn't have been any other way. So that's how I truly feel. Like after Like after he did the first Iron Man all those years ago, and then he said, you know what? Now I know what to do for Tony Stark. I know what I have to do. So then, he just kept doing the thing that he realized what Tony Stark was really all about, because he actually read the comics, and he says, okay, this is what I need to do for him. And of course he was great, like in everything he did up to Endgame. So yeah, definitely.
I love this movie. Now, Amazon Women on the Moon. We've talked about half the sequences so far. Do you have anything you want to add on the things like the apartment mishaps, or the Monique Gabriel model going around Laguna, California, or Murray and Selma, or the hospital birthing situation with Michelle Pfeiffer and Peter Horton?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. Let me.
The actor I was thinking about, I'm sorry, it took me a little while to find him, was Evan Peters. Evan Peters is the character that I thought did the best Quicksilver. And I think he was in one of the X-Men movies, but I'm trying to remember which one, when he was trying to find out.
Days of Future Past?
Huh?
Days of Future Past?
Maybe. I don't remember. He was trying to find out who his father was. He found out it was Magneto, and he was down in the basement eating bunches of Twinkies and stuff. And he saved everybody from the fire in the school. Remember, he got everybody out before
he does that. And isn't there also a sequence where he runs around a room as gunfire breaks out, and he's
moving bullets out of the way and stuff.
Yeah.
The water's flying around. I've gotten to work with him before, and he's a really good actor, and he's really talented. He's really nice. Evan Peters. I couldn't remember what his name was, but I knew his name was Evan, but I couldn't remember his last name. So I was like, damn, I can't remember, because he dates Emma Roberts, actress from American Horror Story. That's who he dated. So I was just trying to remember, but I loved him. I thought he did a really good Quicksilver for the character wise that I remember in the comic books.
Yeah, I think the one scene, Bruce, that probably stands out to me is Joe Pantoliano, the hair carpet salesman.
Okay.
I just thought all of it was funny. It was really
well, I had to look it up because I had to verify for sure. But this guy, is trying to sell, hair pieces, for bald men. And he uses carpentry. He uses carpets. And I was like, really? And he says, I want it red. So then he goes and gets a red carpet, and it's shagged. And he says, you really want this for your hair? Yes. And he goes after it. It was hilarious. One guy was wearing blue shag. Somebody was wearing red. Somebody was wearing some of that. You remember, Janet, beige? Like there was like a beige kind. There was like
there was a bunch of, but it reminded me of all those commercials from those channels that you get on cable when you pay for it and you don't want them. Those infomercials.
Yeah, the hair for men. The hair for men. Yeah,
and it's a can.
Exactly.
Remember the one? It was in a can, and he sprayed it on.
Spray on, yes.
Yeah, it was a spray on, and it was like it had little hairs or something in it, and it was all like it looked, but you couldn't get it wet because I remember they used it on people with bald spots. So when it would rain or whatever, it'd be running down their head.
Oh,
but it reminded me of that movie, "Come Back to America" or Coming to America, when they did that spoof with Arsenio Hall and they were
Eddie Murphy, yeah,
had a can of Jerry Curl or whatever it
Jerry
was.
Curl that he'd spray on, yes.
And he was leaning against the couch, and when he stood up, the couch was like covered with all his grease.
Oh my God, such a great film! It really is.
That's what it reminded me of. All these little commercials, because I remember there used to be I think it was on Saturday Night Live where they used to do fake commercials too, and there's a few shows like I'm trying to remember some of them. They used to have all the fake commercials, and
I believe there was.
I thought that was funny.
Yeah, I believe there was a segment when John Belushi was still alive, and he was advertising some hair pieces, and I think Dan Aykroyd was helping him, and they were like, he was going to nail it on his head, just take like a board and and hammer nail and just go, just put it right into his head.
Yeah, because they were using a stapler, weren't they, on this movie? Didn't they use a staple gun?
Yeah, they used the staple gun. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
So
Yeah.
that had to have hurt really bad. That's why I like wigs. Wigs, you can be any color hair you want as long as you want. It can be spiky, it can be short, and they're nice.
And I remember those. Yeah, and I do remember those old commercials. Oh yeah, Janet. I remember those old commercials where they had a hair club for men. My dad was afraid of it because he had short hair, right?
That's right.
And and I said, "Well, Dad, they literally grow it out of your scalp." He says, "Well, that doesn't sound right." I said, "Well, I don't know. They grow it like grass or something. It's weird." And
I've seen that. That was on one of those shows like Mad TV, I think. It was a thing where you spread these seeds on your head and you put water on it, and then the little chia pet stuff started growing. Remember that? I think that was on Mad TV, but I remember that. That was funny. So all those little things. That's why I was thinking this was like a collection that was thrown on the floor or whatever from all the different shows, and all these directors and producers got together and said, "Hey, we got all these cute little skits. We need to make a movie or something. And let's just get together and make these and see what actors would like to portray these characters for all these different skits." And I thought it was pretty cute because it reminded me a little bit of, what was it? Was it called
Kentucky Fried Movie?
Yeah, that. But it reminded me of the one with Drew Barrymore, and it was Cat's Eye.
Cat's Eye, yes.
Different little segments all put together, and that one was in the plane with the creature that was tearing up the engine. John Lithgow, wasn't that him? That's
Twilight Zone. Twilight
Zone. Well, it reminded me of that. It reminded me of Cat's Eye and Twilight Zone movies with all the little skits. Now, the sad thing is, though, I wanted to dress up as the Amazon Queen, and the movie wasn't even really about Amazon women on the moon. It was just a teeny version of it. So I was, because I hadn't seen the movie, so I had to look at set photos and try to come up with something as close as I could, to kind of resemble what she looked like in theme of the movie. But the only thing is that it was just a very small portion. But I do remember all the interruptions when my parents would watch TV, because it was only 3 channels when I was a little kid. And I remember tons of commercials all the time. It was like they were selling cigarettes, and there was all the time. It seemed like cigarettes all the time, but my mom never went without a cigarette. So
that's still one of my favorite scenes. Even though my wife Suzanne and I are diehard cat lovers, right? And there's Cat Spa, Cat People, Cat's Eye. We love all of those cat movies. It's so cool. But like that first segment, which had James Woods, and he had to quit smoking, and they threw the cat on the electronic thing, and I was like, "Oh, are you kidding me? You're ready to
room where they get shock treatment."
Yeah, the shock treatments. And I was like, "Why are you putting the cat on the shock treatment thing?" That one guy was laughing and everything. Oh my gosh! Oh, that was terrible.
I talk about that a lot on Spaces, about how you react differently when someone you love is in danger. So to compromise people, they don't have to. You'll do whatever they tell you. If they say, "You do what we say, or we're going to hurt your kid,"
right?
You're going to jump out of bed and do whatever. That's just what happens. And that's why that part that you were talking about with James Woods was believable, and he's a good actor.
That's unbelievable. Well, and then he cuts and then I don't know, has everybody else has seen it already? But towards the end of that segment, he cuts his wife's finger, off, like part of her finger off.
Yep.
Yeah, his buddy's wife. Okay, his buddy's wife that had the cut finger. Yeah, and but still, one of the funniest things with Drew was the troll that was in the wood, in the wall. And my favorite scene still from that is, "Get him, General!" And you got the police playing on the photograph. I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "The Police is," I grew up with the Police is my favorite band ever, and I've met Sting from a distance. We waved to him, said hello, whatever. And I've been to when he was solo, I've been to 8 of his concerts, and I went to both Police concerts in 1983 and the reunion in 2007. So I
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh my God, so cool, Janet. My favorite band. And you got this cat chasing the troll all over the place. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Good
Just
movie.
great. Great
Cool.
effects. And that was directed by, that segment was directed by Joe Dante himself. And I was like, oh, great, man. The guy that did Gremlins. I was like, yes, absolutely, positively great.
Yeah,
He
I
does
was
very
really
good
surprised that
directed
this
work.
movie didn't make more money than it did,
I wish
because
it
it
did.
seemed like
Yeah, I
this
wish
kind
it
of
did.
stuff was pretty popular in the 80s, you know. And they spent $5
Yes.
million, which is pretty cheap. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
I mean, like I showed, there's over 4 pages here of actors, and a page and a half of them are uncredited. So we know they're not making, they weren't going to make extra money for playing these different characters. But for the people that did be in there, because they had such small roles, like David Alan Grier probably has more money. He was paid more because he was in so many different sections of this movie with all the singing commercials and stuff. Because don't you guys remember those? That, you know, this album, it's got this, that, and the other, all these different songs on it. You know, like I can't remember all of them, but I have a few.
Columbia House.
Something with all the different stuff. It's got like 10 or 12 different famous artists, you know, that are and get this record or whatever type thing. And then you had all the other ones, the infomercials, like I was talking about. It seemed like they were everywhere on every channel, but we only had
late night they would advertise. We just talked about this in one of our previous topic streams about 2 weeks ago about nostalgia times. We were just talking about the Columbia Record House, you know, where I got involved in the contract. And that was probably one of the dumbest things I ever did, because like I ordered the 80s hits, right, at whatever was going on at the time that was, you know, big hits, and I got it, and then I was like, but then I'm like, I want something else, but then I'm like, I didn't want to be trapped into a contract, so I said to them, look, I'll take one more, you know, these were cassette tapes too, remember, Janet? So at the time, so I took a cassette of another, you know, greatest hits album. And I said, that's it, I'm done. And they said, no, you're not done yet. For $19.99, you can also get another, you know. And they kept sending me mail. I said, I'm paid off. I'm done. I just paid you guys. And it took almost 3 months to finally stop, you know. And it was this, they kept bugging me and sending me letters and, you know, all sorts of stuff. Time Like Books did the same exact thing. I think it all came from the same company.
They even had commercials, I remember, for like sets of encyclopedias, you know.
Yes.
And they had kids sitting around the table with their parents looking at the books, and it says, teach your kids from home, you know, the real history and science and all these different things. And now you never see that. Man, do we need to start selling encyclopedias?
Well, we need to sell collections like that again. What they need to do is they need to open these really nice mom and pop bookstores again. You know, people that really believe in reading books, you know. And a lot of the kids today,
you have a lot of those. They're thrift stores, and then you have the little boutiques, is what they usually call them now. Like down in the quarter, they would have a lot of boutiques, and they'd sell old books, and they sell old jewelry, antique jewelry, and clothing, you know, things like that. So you can still find it if you're willing to, you know, really dig around and search to find some really good stuff. But today, it's hard to even get a good book anymore because they're all remade. You know, all the old books that we used to read when we were little, you can't hardly get anymore. You can't even get a Disney movie that's printed the same as it was when we were little.
Back when we were little.
They've redone them all to make them woke, you know, because we're all racist and mean, and we hate real, we love real women. We don't want a woman that's not really a woman, you know, that type of stuff. So they'll fix all that. They're making all those changes and fixing all those. So it's going to be hard, you know, when our grandchildren one day want to watch a movie or read a book to get actual factual information, because it's all going to be the new stuff, whatever the new digitized version of it is. Just like some of these Wikipedia and stuff, people like you and I can just sit in there and put information on there.
You know? Yeah, exactly. I think also Well, because now we got audiobooks, right?
Everyone's going to be transgender. You know, it won't be long, and we're all going to just be Barbies, and we're not going to have any genitals. So, you know,
I don't want to be
all the
Ken,
babies,
though.
all
You
the
don't
babies and
understand.
stuff to be raised in laboratories. You know, and they'll take the very best cells from everyone, and that's where the next generations will come from, because they don't want us to procreate in the normal way. You know, that's why they're wanting everyone to not be, you know, get surgery and become what you aren't, just so that you can feel better about yourself, that type of thing. So it's really sad, but you know,
it's very sad.
Going.
Right. I remember, well, I just, you know, I'm old enough to remember when they did Molly, you know, when they cloned her, the sheep. And I was like, you know what? I guarantee you in 20 years or so, you're going to have human beings actually cloned from a test tube like you did for Molly.
I've already seen videos and stuff, or what do you call those, conventions or whatever you can go to buy different things, to where one day can have your baby and bring it home and have it in a uterus growing right there in your house, basically.
Well, you don't even, that's the thing too. You don't even need to be man and woman, like you said, to procreate.
Well, so you can do that now. I can right now, if I couldn't have a baby, I could go to a fertility clinic, and I could get a surrogate mother
automatically. Yeah.
And pay a woman to carry my kid for me, and I could have a baby. So we already have that. We already have rentable incubators right now. They have no say or anything. Well, especially if it's your egg and your partner's sperm or whatever, and you make the embryo and then you grow it that way, then it's still going to, DNA wise, it's going to be yours. But if you get a donor egg or donor sperm, then even if you have another person that has it for you, because you're not able to carry to full term, you could have a baby, but the DNA wouldn't prove that. And that's one of the documentaries that I think was really, really cool. I watched a couple of years ago about chimeras. You know, you have a twin that absorbs the other twin in the womb, and then the mother, she wasn't married, and she had given birth to her baby. And then it was a few weeks later, the baby came back for some tests or whatever they did. And they said, "This isn't your kid." And she's like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, we did the DNA, and you're like an aunt or something. You're not the mother." And she's like, "I am the mother."
Not the actual mother,
so
right.
She had to go to court and everything to prove that she was the mother, that, you know, who was there when she gave birth and all that. And then her second kid, the same thing happened, because certain parts of her body were her sister's DNA that she had absorbed because she was a chimera. So, science is just freaking awesome. And I just
it is awesome, but it's also, science is awesome, but it's also very controversial. Because when it comes to certain surrogate mothers, you know, they're carrying your baby. Okay, they've got your sperm, they've got your egg, and so they're carrying your child that's going to come. But some of those surrogate mothers actually have their own DNA bond with the baby inside. So when they give birth to the child, most of them are not ready to give up the child immediately, and they're saying,
"Maybe
that's
why."
You know?
That's why it's really hard, because you have a lot of people that don't want to do it afterward. That's why you want to make sure that you go through the right. If you do want to do something like that, you got to go through the right type of agency to make sure that all the legal stuff is taken care of, so that if something does happen, because how can you not? You know I couldn't do it. I personally, I couldn't carry a baby, even if I'm not the one who created the baby. In my body for that long,
an attachment. That's
the
thing, though, Janet. You would have an attachment to that child. That's what I'm saying.
That's right.
You would have that attachment, even if it's not yours.
That's why they think at growing children in laboratories, you know, in these little incubators and things like that, like to, not really cloning, because it's really an embryo that you took from two people, you know, a man and a woman. But growing it in a bag, like they did the sheep, and they've done other animals that way too. So it's
but it sounds so Matrix to me. You remember all those children?
Yeah, it is Matrixy, but it is a future, and they're doing it in like Switzerland and stuff, where they're taking the DNA and they're going through it, making changes so that the child will have blue eyes or blonde hair or green eyes. So, you know,
picking out
or
all the different
sex,
attributes. Yeah.
what sex you want your child, they can already do all of that in laboratories. So,
Oh, I totally agree. And I was gonna say, you have a cosplay. Is it of Amazon women that you guys were talking about?
that's me. I was trying to dress up like the some of the pictures I saw of the Amazon Queen, but I didn't realize that the Amazon Women on the Moon was just a segment, you know, basically in little pieces throughout the whole
I
movie.
would say,
I'd never seen
can I
it.
give you? Yeah, can I give you an honest assessment? I think you do come pretty close to Sybil Danning as
Yeah.
Queen Laura.
Oh,
Seriously.
Absolutely.
the actress?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
actress,
Oh,
Sybil
thank
Danning.
you.
Yeah.
There you go. See, that's what
big
I'm
fan.
saying. Yeah,
Big fan.
absolutely. And you got the hair, right? Because if you've seen a picture of her, Sybil Danning, and the way she was as Queen Laura, and you see her hair is blonde and all that stuff.
Well,
She
I
had
had
that,
another wig that was more styled like hers, but it wasn't light
like
enough
sandy blonde. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
for that
Yeah, I
style.
was gonna
I
say,
have,
you're
you know,
that's
a
off great.
lot. I've got over
Yeah.
40 wigs, so
Well, there you go.
I haven't gotten to wear this one yet. So I'm going to wear it.
Well, I wouldn't have known it's a wig, Janet. You sell it so well. It's
Thank
beautiful.
you.
Yeah, you're definitely Queen Laura. I would say
Well,
absolutely.
thank you so much. Yeah, when I play on Saturday, play DD or whatever. What do you call it? It's not Dungeons and Dragons.
For the game we run, for the high level game, that's Pathfinder. For the
Nice.
Yeah, okay. Now I remember her. Yeah, she's pretty. She had
Yeah.
that
Baba Baboom?
hairstyle from like Knots Landing and what was that other show? That TV show, Dynasty.
Dynasty, yes.
Dynasty,
She did.
yeah.
Dynasty, yeah, she did.
She had that Dynasty hairstyle right there. But I was trying to do the one where she was wearing the little crown on her head.
The little crown, okay. Yeah, she's been in Playboy too.
She was a Playboy model
I'm afraid
too.
to admit. Yes, she was.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
I immediately I see her, in the movie, and I'm like, she's a Playboy model. Hello, yeah.
Well, I always watched. I watch guys. I'm not really into watching the girls on Playboy or anything. So
she played Gretchen Cook.
I'm saying that I have a beautiful life now, but way back when I was a little child, every little guy had his, Playboy model, and so there were a few.
Yeah, I just remember, lots of pinup posters.
Yeah, you do.
That were in those magazines. Those in the magazines, you could tear it out and hang it on your wall or in your locker at school.
Oh my gosh! Wait, were you a David Cassidy girl?
Mm-mm.
No.
Really?
Who was yours when you were growing up?
I gotta think. Let's see. I don't know. I'd have to think about it. There was a few boys. Most of them were cowboys and stuff. I liked Keanu. Not Keanu. What was this from Lost Boys?
You like Estevez, Emilio.
Well, no, I liked the two vampires.
She's talking about
what his name is.
Sutherland.
So, you like
Sutherland's son.
Kiefer Sutherland. Okay.
In that movie, and then the other one that played the other vampire that fell back on the bed with his earring and it kind of bounced when he fell back on the bed.
Oh yeah, the dark-haired one.
Yeah, I can't remember what his name is, but he was cute. I don't know. I'd have to go through a bunch of them. There was quite a few that I thought were very attractive.
Yeah,
but I like guys that wear blue jeans and wear like baseball caps or cowboy hats, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Work
okay.
boots.
So it was Kiefer and
because I wasn't really into blonde. Yeah,
Michael.
Jason Patrick.
Jason Patrick, the dark hair.
I didn't really like.
I was struggling with that guy's name. I couldn't think of Jason Patrick.
Yeah, it was Jason Patrick, and then don't forget the father vampire.
Tom Cruise because he was so short and stuff. I like taller guys.
Well, Tom Cruise was in The Mummy, and of course, the reboot of the Mission Impossible franchise. Now you are thinking of Jason Patrick. He played Michael. He was the guy who got converted, and
very, very attractive.
Kiefer was the second boss, and then don't forget the father vampire was played by Edward Herman. I was like, whoa.
Brad Pitt, he was very attractive when I saw him in Thelma and Louise.
Oh, yes.
I thought he was very sexy, but I don't really like blondes. I don't just go looking for blonde guys. Most of the guys I like that I think are really good looking are, brunette. The the guy that played the werewolf in True Blood series. He was married to Susanna Varga.
Yes,
and he was the fireman stripper in Magic Mike. He's really attractive. I don't remember what his name is right now, but he's, that kind of guy.
Are you talking about Channing Tatum?
He's okay.
Tatum was in
the other guy's way better looking to me than Tatum.
William Fichtner.
No, that's not it.
No, not him. But there was a.
What's her name? Susanna Varga or something that just got divorced.
I'm not sure.
She's very, very attractive, a Latino-looking woman. Very, very pretty.
Vega.
I don't know. I have to look it up.
Her last name was Vega, but she was in the Spy Kids.
So that's why I hate doing it.
Yeah, if you're thinking of her, she was in the Spy Kids franchise. That was Vega, her last name. I can't remember her first name. Alexa, that's it. Alexa Vega. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, that's not her. That's not
her. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Hold on.
When I grew up back in the I grew up in the 70s. I was born in 65, and I grew up in the 70s. And one of the first shows I liked was Charlie's Angels. I was definitely a Charlie's Angels guy. But for me, the person that I liked the most was not Farrah Fawcett. I didn't like her at all. I thought she was kind of arrogant. The only one I really liked was Cheryl Ladd that played Chris Monroe. And she came in on the second season and stayed for the rest of it. She was really good. I liked her. And she even signed a picture of her. It was her signature, and she sent it to me when I was just, when I was young. And I had that poster for a while. Yeah, I had to sell it. I gave it to someone good for a good price. But
I think his name is Joe Manganiello.
Okay.
Manganiello, the guy that played Flash.
Manganiello. Yes.
His nickname was Big Dick or something like that in the movie Magic Mike.
Yeah.
Magic
He
Mike.
was the fireman that picked up the girl and put her over his shoulder, and he was like, he hurt his back or whatever. He was very attractive. But he was in True Blood, and when I saw him in True Blood, I was like, oh man, he's good looking.
Janet, there's a chance. There is a chance for you. He's getting divorced.
If he's ever at a con, I'm definitely going to go. So I'll get tickets.
Have you ever seen the
be a character or something? Because I'd love to meet him in person.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the actor? He was in Almost Human, and he was also in a couple of other movies. Sam Witwer. He's really a nice, good actor, and I liked him in Almost Human.
But I'm not really good.
He plays like a vampire. He's on Sci-Fi. He plays a vampire. Then there's a guy who plays like he's a werewolf, and then there's like a gal in the apartment that's a ghost. So you have a ghost, a werewolf, and a vampire all living together in the same apartment.
No, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, Sam Witwer. He's very good. Yeah, I liked him in that. So yeah, and he's done some other things. Any action stars stand out to you, Hunt? Any of the action stars that are still around? Anyone that you like?
I like I don't remember what their names are. I'm really bad with names. I see their face, but I can't remember people's names. I have to say. If you could tell me the movie, I could probably tell you. One of the guys that I really liked was the guy that was in the Thor movies, but he was the gatekeeper guy.
That was played by Idris Elba.
Yeah, I love him. I think he's a really good action type actor. Yeah. And then I love all the John Wick movies.
We have all the John Wick movies. We finally got all 4. Yeah. I was like, whoa, Keanu. Yeah. Totally awesome.
I like those. I mean, it just depends. There's just a lot of different actors that I like. And I like them in one movie, but then I don't like them in something else. I mean, I'm just really... One of
the best fights he had that Keanu went against was Mark Dacascos. And that was in the third one. Mark Dacascos is like a great action star. He's got like a bald head now, but Keanu went against him in the third John Wick, and I was like, whoa, that was one of the best fight scenes I ever had. They were in a gallery, which was part of the Continental. And it was just a new wing that they had just built in, his friend Winston had built. And his assistant, Winston's assistant, played by Lance Reddick, He passed away, rest in peace. But he was a great guy too. He was a very good actor. He was the concierge, for like all 4 films. Yeah, in the fight against Mark Dacascos, it was him and 2 of his ninja guys, and they're fighting in this. Yeah, there he is. And they were fighting in this top floor, which was just built into a gallery. There's all this glass and everything that's going on. And, first Wick has, John has to kill his assistants, and then he's got to go after Mark. And
yeah,
Mark
I like him. I think he's a very attractive guy too. But I like Jeffrey Dean Morgan, something like that.
Yeah.
I like him. I think he's really attractive. I would love to meet him in person, but I think he's married. So, I just try to not, make a point to meet certain people because, you never know anymore with so many people in so many different movies or anything, or in, bands or whatever, whether they're dating or, in movies and stuff like that. And if I was going to meet them, interested in them or whatever, to meet them in that way, I would want to know more about them. You know what I mean? Before I put myself in that.
Yeah.
But Sean Patrick Flannery is way up on my list.
Oh yeah, did you get to watch him when he did the Young Indiana Jones? Yeah, did you get to watch him when he did that Young Indiana Jones Chronicles back in the 90s?
Yeah.
Are you old enough for that, hun? Do you remember those?
I knew him from
back then for that. Yeah. Oh, you know what he was great in though? He was great in Boondock Saints.
Yeah, that's where I met. That's where I first saw him.
Oh my God!
I like.
Wow, you and I have great memories.
We reviewed that one.
You did? So. Oh, cool. What'd you think? Really good.
I loved it. Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. Yeah, not so much the sequel. The first one was great, but Boondock Saints, the second one, which I think both of them were Patrick's Day. Yeah,
I thought both of them were good. So
yeah, that was all right. Did you like the latest Daniel Craig when he played Bond, the latest Bond, when he played it for those 5 movies? Mm-hmm. Did you like Daniel Craig?
Not really.
Not really. Oh, okay.
I don't really like his. I don't think he's that attractive, and I don't really like his work. I mean, it's not up my
eye. He did good in Deliverance.
I wouldn't turn to go directly toward that person when there's someone else over there might be a little more appealing.
So. This will be the movie that will surprise Janet because this has got your Mark Dacascos, it's got Samuel Le Bihan, Vincent Cassel, Emily DeQueen. It's a French action film released.
I love foreign movies.
This is a year after the Matrix
werewolf movie.
Yeah, this is not a werewolf movie. This is a movie about a cult that is trying to usurp France. And holy shit, if it's not one of the best fucking.
Oh man, yeah. I've seen this trailer. It's really good. This is a movie I definitely would want to see.
Yeah, when did that come out, Bruce?
2003, 2001. My bad. I saw it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I want to see it. I would love to watch this.
They aired this at the Amazon Theater in 2003. We'd never heard of it. We'd never seen anybody in it. And at the time, like, this movie kind of blew my mind because it took the cinematography styles of The Matrix, and I think Wen Loping is the guy that does the cinematography for the fight.
I love the costumes. You know how I like this era.
I'm so surprised in this trailer they get away with damn near a boob shot. They get away with a boob shot in this trailer here. It is so good.
Yeah.
But this movie, it kind of.
And I love martial arts.
This movie gave me a lot of hope for what future films could be. And if we would have stayed on that timeline, we could have had amazing films. But instead, like, we got shitty comic book movies. And I threw too much money at that.
The sad thing is, Bruce, honestly, we lost so many theaters already because of the COVID shutting them down, basically. And during that time, we had such a lapse in any good scripts coming out or people scrambling to get the scripts and make them good to make blockbusters because there's no place to play them now. And it's really hard for them to make bank when you can have 30 people sitting in your living room watching something that they're only getting paid for one viewer. See? So it changes a lot. They had control when people would go into a real theater and sit and watch a movie and have popcorn and everything. I love doing that. That's my favorite way to watch a movie. To me, I enjoy it. I went and saw Ghostbusters, the new Ghostbusters.
The Empire. Yeah, my wife and I saw it. We have a specific.
Without that aspect of collecting the money, we're just not going to see any more huge blockbusters anymore. It's all going to be like what you've seen with Yellowstone and things like that. It's going to be streaming services. Then they'll once it, like Pinky Blinders, things like that, once it's played on the thing where you're paying subscription for it, and that they still can't control how many people you have in your house. Now, if they found out that you were selling $5 a seat to come into your house and watch something, you could probably get in trouble. But it's just too hard for them to control all the houses that have it. So the subscription service just isn't going to put out the same quality of movies. That's why I'm loving the fact I still love European movies, because they still have so much taste left. Like this movie that you were just talking about, they put so much detail and everything into the depth, into the characters in the movies. Here it's like they can make any dribble and people just eat it up because they're starving for entertainment. Even gaming and all that is all gone downhill.
Yes, I agree. There's only, let me ask you a question, Janet. When do you think for sure that the kind of theaters that still, there's the ones that we go to here in Canada called Cineplex Odeon, and they have what they call D-Box, which, makes you totally immersive into the film. Then you have what
are you talking about the ones where they put the smells in the air and they spray
yes.
They have
You'll
have larger, like you'll have your main screen in front of you, but along the sides of the theater, kind of along your peripheral, you're going to have extra screens. They'll have scents come out. They'll have the seats vibrate. You'll have the periphery. You'll have all this stuff happen. It's a 4D experience, and they have
we've been to 4D theaters too. Yeah, so yes. And I love that.
I've been to a couple. I love it. I think it's great. Now, see, that's what I'm saying. They have to go to those lengths to have a theater to get people to go to the theaters now. It's getting to where even the good theaters that I used to go to are now, they're only doing like old movies and TV shows and stuff like that now, just to try to even keep afloat, because they've lost so much business that's basically the only way they're even able to stay going right now. Is because people are not watching.
You've worked in the industry, I know that, Janet. So let me ask you this absolute question. When, in your honest opinion, do you think that theaters will just no longer be able to accommodate, either because the theaters are near empty and the prices are way too expensive? Because I know D-Box alone is like $25 a person. We don't do that. We do a step below that, but you still get, all the surround sound and everything. But you're still paying over, $20, $25 for a couple. So when do you think all of that's just going to go by the wayside? When are the
it's already going. It's already happening right now. I've gone to different places on my travels to Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, and Arkansas. And you go to some old theaters that I went to 17, 18 years ago, and they're musty. Right. The seats are ripping. The floor is uneven. The carpets, you can just tell the screen's got little holes in it, things like that. They're slowly deteriorating, and they can't afford to repair all the stuff because they don't make the money anymore. And a lot of them are like $5 movies, and they're showing reruns and things like that. It's already happening. The movie theaters are going to soon be what you used to have when your parents went to the drive-ins. That's what's going to happen.
Which is, there's only one drive-in that I know of. Yeah, there's only one drive-in that I remember. I don't know if it's still there, but I used to live in Arizona for a long time. And there was a place down there in Scottsdale called the Scottsdale 6. And it was a drive-in. Like, it was right out in the middle of the desert there, just outside of town. And it was still around when Suzanne and I moved back here to Canada. So I think it's still there, but there's very few places left that have anything in the way of a drive-in. And there's also theaters that have IMAX. They used to have IMAX everywhere. There's not very many left. I think there's like one mall.
Because you got to remember, it's
Arrowhead
expensive.
Mall that has it. Yeah,
It's expensive for the company that makes the movie to make it 3D or IMAX or any of these special movies like the one you were talking about, the immersive one. To actually film that, you have to film it with, you know, different sound and all different things. So it's more expensive, and they're just going to do it. Why would they spend all that money to do that when they can make it to where you can stream it on your TV?
Absolutely.
Half the cost.
Well, absolutely. But then some of us, well, that's
to.
the thing. We don't, there's very, we kind of consider ourselves low income. So we don't really have like a lot of the streaming services they ask you to pay for, like Netflix, Paramount Plus, things like that. I just remembered that before we left, we were still able to watch, you know, something on cable, but now even that's gone by the wayside. So, you know, it's sad. I think it's really sad.
It is. And that's why ever since I was a kid, I went to Comic-Con. Whenever I could afford it. I go to Comic-Con. The last one I got to meet William Shatner and Christopher Lloyd and was dressed as an Andorian. I had a blast. I had tons of people take their picture with me. It's immersive. Okay. And I can dress up in any costume. And guess what? I fit right in. And what better place to go? You know, what better place for a grown-up that can be Halloween anytime, basically, and hang out with all the people there, all love what you love. So you fit right in. It's a new thing. And I see that type of thing growing because they do shows there. They have different rooms you can go in depending on what tickets you buy, and you can learn how they made this series or that, or what this cartoonist and this writer did to make this series of comic books. You can learn so much stuff about all the different genres that you're interested in, depending on what con you go to. Because you can go to horror cons, or you can go to sci-fi cons, or you can go to Comic-Con. You know, it's whatever you decide to do. And that's basically the kind of stuff that I do now. Is I do a lot of promo work where, you know, I'd sell like phone cards or vape, you know, different vape bottles or little bottles of vodka. You know, I'll pass out different bottles of vodka, things like that, depending. But because, you know, I had to start doing all that type of stuff because when they said you had to have the jab to be able to work in commercials or music videos or anything, I just started doing promo work because I didn't have to have that.
Yeah. So is it pretty lucrative? Is it pretty lucrative?
Not really. It's a lot of work. You know, you have to do a lot of work, a lot of driving, and you don't make as much money because you got to go to a different place. If you get one that's a 2-week gig, that's really good. But when you get to do work on a movie, especially as a stand-in or something like that, you could work for 2 or 3 weeks. That's a really good chunk of money.
Which is pretty good money. Yeah.
But
I'm guessing
for one movie, you know, then
you got
to find another one, and you got to find another one, or a TV show, or you got to find commercials. It's a constant thing. And if you have an agent, it even costs you even more money. So a lot of the actors that weren't, you know, like famous, you know, huge ones that can make $10 million a movie and things like that, those ones are having to do other stuff. They're having to write books, or they're having to you know, like me, I make art. I do a lot of things. I multitask basically. And I make costumes. I sew t-shirt bags. I make bags out of old t-shirts. I do a lot of things. And because when I lived in New Orleans, I was able to just go down to the quarter and mingle and, you know, sell my wares down there. And it's totally set up differently because you have a huge tourist industry, but that's even taken a hit. Any city that used to use tourists to make your living, it's hurting because people don't have the money to go on these trips anymore.
It's not only that, it's the pandemic too.
Everyone in Hollywood is not a bunch of stuck-up liberal nutcases that think that everybody should be jabbed up and zombies and do what they're told or whatever. Most of the people that I met working and stuff were people that just wanted to be free. They had to be able to keep their money, live where they wanted, marry who they wanted, and have the government stay out of their lives. That's it. And that's how I am. You know, I'm one of those people. But, you know, I was born in Newfoundland. So I was born in Canada. My dad was Air Force.
My wife is from. Yeah. She's from there too.
And that was one of the things I was going to say about the big outdoor screens. The very first time I ever got to go to something like that was when I was a little girl. We were in the Philippines. My dad was stationed there, and they called it the Happening on the Green. And it was a huge, like, football field, grass, beautiful. And it had a huge screen, like a drive-in theater, but it was no cars. It was people just with blankets and chairs and stuff. And we'd go out and watch movies that way on the weekend. So,
and that was outside of Manila, right? Yeah, that was outside of Manila.
Yeah. And it was nice. It was beautiful. But the thing is, not every state can do that. You can't do that in like Idaho.
You can't even do that in Arizona anymore. We used to have displays like that. We had a place called Paradise Valley Park. We had polo field there. We had guys and gals that were playing polo on horses, and that's not there anymore. I mean, that was the nuanced thing.
You have to be able to pay your taxes for your property. You have to be able to pay your insurance, because you have all these people coming and going on your property. If they fall and hurt themselves, they could sue you.
They're liable.
You got to pay all those people. You got to have a lawyer basically on call at any time for anything that could happen. Then you have to pay all the taxes for all the different things you're involved in. If you sell merchandise, and if you have food, you have to have a license for that. I mean, if you sell liquor, then you have to have a license for that. See, it's gotten so expensive to have any type of business, depending on what state you live in. If you're in a good state that's friendly to entrepreneurs, then you'll be able to have a business and probably make a really good living. But like me, I'm a independent contractor, because I'm my product. I have to work to be able to make money, and sell myself, and not like a prostitute or anything like that. I have to get them to want me over that other person, because there's a million people that want to do the same thing. And either they like my voice, because I can be a bitch. I can act like a bitch, dress like a bitch, look like a witch, wear wigs, whatever it is that it takes. But it's hard, and it's a lot of work to be able to fit whatever it is that you're trying to put yourself into. And plus, I've done voiceovers, so I have to.
I assumed you did voiceovers. Yes,
I do all kinds of stuff like that, but it's hard and far in between to fill in the gaps when the economy is so bad. And that's why I really hope to God that people will start fighting for their country, so we can get our country back to where we can keep the money that we earn.
Yeah, we need to get it back to what we were, meant to do back in the early 70s and 80s. Is we had our own funds. We could do whatever we wanted with it. We didn't really have to worry about restrictions. That's what was so nice. My parents that were able to afford a nice house to raise 4 kids, and then be able to live comfortably after that, and it just, I wish we could all go back to that, because that would be nice. I mean,
there's no going back. We can only go forward. And work on what we have.
To send your money to American interests, and not send your money over to George Soros's bastard son, little Zelensky. Little Zelensky needs your help in the Ukraine, and it's amazing how much money he goes through. Zelensky, he's a very good man. He tries. He used to be a boxer. Don't you people like athletics? He was a boxer. I don't understand why people don't want to give more money to Ukraine. I know that you don't have money for electricity or fuel, or heaven forbid, your winter's coming. Ha 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 ha! You're going to freeze to death in your homes. But no, give your money to the Zelensky, because that's exactly what America deserves: is to have all their money embezzled by the Biden family. Fuck America. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly the entire fucking left right now. Fuck those people.
Yeah, it's crazy. Let me ask you a question, Janet. I've always, because I consider you absolutely a celebrity.
Well, I'm far from one. I'm just a person that gets to do something that's fun, and I wish everybody have a chance to do a job that they like.
I think you to work as an actor. I worked on a few, a TV series and a movie, so I feel like I had my 15 minutes of fame back in the day. Who was your favorite actress that you got to stand in for? That you got to do a picture? Yeah.
Got to stand in for? Well, I don't really want to say, because I don't want people looking me up. Yeah. Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. Well, then what was like the best thing you got to do a voiceover for? What was the best show or?
Well, it hasn't been made yet. I sent it in. but the video hasn't come out yet, and it's a YouTuber.
Okay, secret. Okay.
Yeah, it's a YouTuber I did a voiceover for, and I'm still waiting for their special little thing when it comes out. That's my favorite one because it was the funnest one I've gotten to do. Other ones are pretty boring. Like I've done a computer voice, I've done a mother on the phone. I've done all, and I did one kitten bowl. Have you ever watched the kitten bowl on Animal Planet?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, the puppy bowl, and then they had the kitten halftime show. So
and that was you.
Oh, I've done the kitty halftime show. Yeah, I've done lots of different things. But the thing is, you got to do what you can when you get the opportunity to do it. You know what I mean? And if something comes across your table and you're thinking about it too hard, you're going to miss out on something. Because if you do it and you don't like it, you just don't do it again. That's how I tell. Right. That's why I tell people try it once just to see whether or not it's something you might be interested in.
Oh, never know. I've done it once already. I have a gentleman that is our friends in our community. His name is Jim's Landscape LLC #1 Commodore Productions on YouTube. He's on YouTube, and he does fan films. And it's mostly Star Trek fan films and things like that. I got to do a computer voice for the first time, and my and my fan film with my voice on it is coming out next month. It's called Repair 4.
But it was fun, wasn't it? See, it's also a memory. Yes. It's also a memory you'll always have. So even if it's not really big hit or anything, it's something you got to do. I have scrapbooks. I scrapbooked everything I've done, every single thing. And I've got it in scrapbooks so that my family have that if they're ever interested in looking at it, whatever.
Yeah, I have a pretty good memory because I was working as an extra with a good friend of mine. His name is Larry Bartels. He's been in Near Dark. He's been in a few other films too. Yeah. He got to work with Bill Paxton in Near Dark. I was so jealous because I wanted to work with that guy. But I did get to work with Billy Blanks and a guy named Ken Scott in the. It was called Showdown. It was filmed in the Phoenix, Arizona area. They used my old high school, Paradise Valley, as one of the places that they had the kids in and everything. Mm-hmm. I met her last name is Donna. She was in a film that she did with Eddie Murphy. So I got to meet her. I also got to meet another Ken. He was a stuntman that was working. And and we were sitting there. We were in this dojo it was an old warehouse down in outside of Phoenix that they transformed into a dojo, so like a fight club of sorts. And I'm in the audience there, and you can actually. They took my voice. This is so embarrassing. They took my voice and replaced it with some other voice, another voiceover actor. So there's a part of me where I'm standing there and I'm in my jacket and I go, yeah, like this, like take it down, yeah, something like that. And some guy took over and took my voice out of there and put somebody else in.
Well, that
you can definitely tell it was me though. If you look at the face here, just think about 20 years younger, or 30 years younger. Because that's when the movie came out, was 1994. So you just have to look at that, see me 30 years younger, and and you'll definitely you'll pick me out. I'm in crowd scenes. I'm just walking around doing stuff. 7 years before that, I was on television.
It's an experience that you're going to remember forever, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So aren't you glad you got to try it?
I did. I had my 15 minutes of fame.
But that's what I'm saying. I tell everybody, and the cool thing is, like in New Orleans, we call it the Hollywood South, basically. So, and then a lot of my friends were in The Walking Dead and stuff because it was a state away. So a lot of people went back and forth, and did work in both states and things like that. So it just depends because they do film a lot in lots of different states. And if your state is smart and they work it out to where your taxes are low enough to draw in that kind of industry, it can help a lot of different towns because they're looking for certain sets, and if you have tons of roads and stuff like that, they're not going to film a movie like or TV series like Yellowstone there. Because they want, they want it to look like it's rural or older, from the, 1600s, 1700s, 1800s, depending on what they need for the scenery. And that's what location managers do, is they run around looking, find places to film.
Yeah, so basically right now, if I'm correct, you did say Louisiana. I know my wife's been to the French Quarter. She's been to New Orleans, so she really enjoyed it. She went for Mardi Gras one time.
Yeah, I love
I can't say that I've been blessed yet to be there, but I would love to go there myself. Even if it's not Mardi Gras, I would love to see the French Quarter.
Go to a jazz festival if you like jazz.
Jazz festival. I love jazz. I love jazz. I love all kinds of music.
You and your wife go and enjoy yourselves, because it would help the economy, and you could probably get some really good deals because they're hurting. So that's what I tell people. I tell people to try to take your vacation in the States. Don't take your money and spend it going to another country. Try to find a state, something you haven't done. We used to go to, I take my mom to Mount Rushmore. We took her to Grand Canyon.
I took my wife to Grand Canyon. She's born in Canada, and I took her to Canyon. Yes,
is going to help the economy. Because you're going to be, and you get to spend time together when you're driving. In your vehicle, do the card games. With the colored cars or trucks or different things like that.
We had a die-cast red. Yeah, we had a die-cast red Nissan Rogue. So when I brought my wife to visit my parents back in Arizona, we drove across the country. We left from Buffalo, New York after we crossed the border, and I drove her all the way across, all the way down to Arizona. And then when we moved back here to Canada, because we live in Toronto area now, so when I drove her back, we went all the way up through California, Idaho, Washington State, and we crossed the border in Idaho and went all the way across Canada. And in Manitoba, she actually ran into some people she knew, but people that she knew were from Newfoundlanders. Yeah, from Newfoundland. And like I said, she was born in St. John's, Newfoundland.
Yeah, I'm planning on that. I'm saving my money because I'm wanting to go to Newfoundland this year, and I want to go to see the Niagara Falls.
You haven't been to Niagara Falls yet? We've been there 3 times. Oh, you're gonna love it, Janet.
And I have relatives in Norway that keep begging me to come.
You gotta go.
I haven't gone to Norway yet either. So I'm trying to save money so I can take some of these trips that I haven't been procrastinating about taking. But that's the things I want to do.
I'll tell you 3 attractions you can check out in Niagara Falls. If you want me to say them, I can tell you. I can tell you which ones.
Well, you can. I was going to say, if you want, you can send me some information about Niagara Falls and stuff on X if you'd like.
Yeah, sure. Are you on X the same way, Janet from Another Planet? Mm-hmm. Same way? Okay, cool. Yeah. Ours is at Foursuze, FOURSUZE. I can send you information about Niagara Falls. But 3 of the attractions I can tell you right away is the Hornblower Cruise. That's the boats that go right as close as possible to American Falls, Niagara Falls, the Bridal Falls, all of them. And I mean, it brings you right there. The mist and everything, beautiful, beautiful. Mm-hmm. The other one I would recommend is going to Clifton Hill. There's a beautiful 4K theater there that you can go there and watch 4K films. The full immersive experience. Everything, it's affordable. It's just awesome. Tim Hortons is there. Everything is there. There's also a place called the Nightmares Fear Factory. And if you really like horror, I mean, this is built on an old abandoned coffin factory site. Now they got the actors and actresses, foot people, hand people, or stuff. They're going to grab at you, things like that. But there is an actual spirit that still inhabits the coffin factory. His name is Abraham, and he used to be the owner. He used to create and build coffins for deceased people. And these rowdy kids, one time accidentally were messing around in his factory, and a whole bunch of coffins fell on top of him. That's the legend. Oh. And then when they tried to find his body was gone. They unburied it, and he wasn't even in his coffin. He wasn't there.
Well, they couldn't make much money if they had a business that was on haunted stories if they didn't have a haunted story.
Well, yeah, that's an actual
they-
haunted factory. I
they do
mean,
that
there
a
is
lot
a real
down
spirit
in,
there, you know, not just actors and stuff. You know, it's
down
kinda
in
cool.
New Orleans for the voodoo tours and the the haunted cemetery tours and stuff. They have all these really intricate little stories they tell you about certain people who died or they lost their hands and that
Right.
just different things going on. But Bruce, is there anything else that you'd like to discuss about the movie?
There's a part of this film.
Mhm.
Let me present this to you. Part of this movie is really cool.
Yes.
Video pirates. These guys
Yeah.
are sailing along. They hoist their flag and they're going for the MCA ship. And this scene happens right here. And that fucking injury, I can't find anything on this, but this part of the film kind of makes me wonder, like, did somebody get injured here? Because look at this. That
Yeah.
looks like a fucking impact. Like, I don't know about the rest of y'all, but that looks really painful.
Yeah, it did look like he got hit in the head.
Yeah, that's a concussion. One of the stuntmen, if I recall about reading about the movie, one of the stuntmen there that got hit by that thing literally did. Like he was knocked out, completely knocked out.
I couldn't find anything about injuries or production. Usually,
yeah, I can actually look it up. Yeah, sure.
Wikipedia usually does a great job with production notes, and all I get is Amazon Moon on the Moon was filmed in 1985 with plans for an August 1986 release, but due to the ongoing legal fallout from the Twilight Zone accident, which had director John Landis at the center of, Universal repeatedly pushed the release date and issued a gag order on publicity for the film while the trial was ongoing. That's the only production notes I was able to really find. That accident, if you're saying concussion, okay, I can see that. I can completely understand that. And I think that's one of my more favorite parts of this entire movie.
Why? Because someone got hurt?
No, because that set looked so good.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a Harryhausen film.
That one and the funeral service for the with the fake whatever that's called, where they fried up guy or whatever you want to call it.
The roast.
Yeah, the roast. Those two scenes for the parts in the movie, to me, are the two I feel that they spent the most money on.
I feel sorry for Archie Hahn. He's he was the guy that was died and gets roasted. The makeup in that.
Yeah, but I think they did that on purpose because he looked very, very overdone. For a dead person, like they over dramatically did his makeup. And then the one part when he says he's got to put his 2 cents worth in after I guess he could take it from his eyes or something like that. Like they put a penny on each eye or something. It was some really corny little stabs, but I just thought it was great. I laughed through the whole thing. I thought it was really good. But the last guy, the black gentleman, was, to me, I thought was the best out of all, joke wise. Rip Torn, I've gotten to see him before. I went with my mom. I don't remember where it was at. It wasn't in Vegas, or it was at like some like maybe what's the name of that place? Not Six Flags. I can't remember.
Universal Studios?
No, it was a little one here in Arkansas. Had Uncle Abner, and all those characters. Oh, God, I cannot remember. I'm so terrible at that.
All right.
There was something I found here, Bruce, and if you allow me, I'll go ahead and read it to you. This comes from the IMDb database. It says the film within the film, Amazon Women on the Moon, is constantly interrupted by commercials and assorted problems, which include a burning print of the film, pieces of the movie missing, which includes the opening credits, and the unseen death of astronaut Blackie, who was killed trying to steal the sacred moonstones, and the love scene between Sybil Danning and Steve Forrest. Now, this is pretty much like an old drive-in movie, which was sent around the country, and the print would be missing reels due to censorship issues, or basically some scenes were so racy that they were memorable and worth keeping for private use by projectionists. Yeah.
I like the other part I really enjoyed was the first lady of the evening, which I found to be hilarious because I could completely see that with like some twat like nurse fucking, or excuse me, Dr. Jill Biden. After she sedates her husband and puts him to bed, she goes out with like John effing Kerry and goes and fucks John Kerry for some Heinz money. And you know that I can see that. I can absolutely see that because that's the type of morality that dumb cunt has. And fuck that slag and fuck that family. Both of them, actually. The other scene I really thought was funny was that you have Mark Adler and Kelly Preston as the young kids. Kelly Preston, she just died in 2020. She's the young girl wanting to get the Titan condoms put inside her with a fully grown penis. And poor fucking Matt Adler, the kid plays George. By the way, all the names from the Titan Man segment are taken from It's a Wonderful Life. Mr. Gower, Violet George, Rupert King, played by Howard Hessman, the late great Howard Hessman. And I thought that was good. The video date segment, I found it hilarious because you had Corrine Wall as Sherry, the big titty girl that wanted Mark McClure Ray to go and seduce her, even though it's an interactive video before interactive videos. And Andrew fucking Dice Clay played her husband who fucking deletes her. Damn.
And there was the guy that was you remember Bryan Cranston from Breaking Bad?
Yes.
He was in the film. He said of all the films in his IMDb titles that he wanted removed, this was
one.
The one.
This is it. This is the movie he wants to completely delete from record. And I'm like, you fag. Quit being a schlup, Brian. And he's a schlup. I'm sorry he had one really big bad series and everybody else loves it. I find it boring, but fuck. Like, I don't find Bryan Cranston that good. I watched Godzilla 2014 and I thought, what a shit show. More focus on human characters than the monsters. I want to see monsters. And thank God for Godzilla -1. And Kong versus Godzilla is coming out. So great.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, we want to go see that. My wife and I, we want to see the Godzilla versus Kong. Absolutely. That looks really good.
Yeah, I definitely want to go see
I grew up with a lot of that. Did you ever grow up with those old time Godzilla movies like Godzilla versus Mothra and Godzilla versus
there was
Megatron,
always like a weekend
Megagodzilla?
matinee. There was like weekend matinees with double features with different movies like that. But but I watched reruns of the original Star Trek with my dad.
Yay.
That's what I'm into.
We watched that. I watched that with my dad too. We would sit at his seat, his own personal seat, right? Because dads always had a seat for themselves, and I would sit between his, sit there either on his lap because I was still a young kid, or I'd sit down in front of him, and we'd watch every single Star Trek episode, everything, all 79, everything. And then I started watching, as I was getting old enough, I was starting to watch, Next Generation. So I'd watch every Next Generation episode, then DS9, then Voyager, and then the last one I saw was Bakula, Enterprise. And I saw all the episodes and all the seasons of Enterprise. And I remember when they brought back Dean Stockwell, the guy that played the AI in Quantum Leap. And of course, he just recently passed away, so rest in peace, Dean. But they did an episode where they brought back Scott and Dean together because they did the show, right? And that was a great episode. I love when they brought those two guys back together. So yeah, that was good TV. I mean, and it was UPN and and United Paramount, and that's when it was actually fun to watch. And then everything went bad after that. So
there's some really good stuff about the Star Trek series that I like, and I'm not a big fan of Next Generation. I'm not a big fan of Voyager. I'll watch them if they're on, but I'm not going to go hunt them down on the web. DS9, the original series, Enterprise, those are like my favorite versions of Star Trek, aside from Galaxy Quest. But
the old Galaxy Quest,
that's good, really good.
But
I think that Janet could stand in for Sigourney Weaver for sure.
He would outshine Sigourney Weaver, especially in that role.
I
Sigourney
love the
did.
Galaxy Quest. We did that, didn't we?
Yep, we did.
You guys did it? Oh, cool. Awesome.
We did a review of
First
it.
year.
And the one thing I thought was so cute and adorable that just little things like this is one of the reasons why I like this movie was the fact that the scenes where they had the moon and the rocket and stuff, and they're watching out the window, and when the moon explodes, right? You see the string holding the rocket and the moon, and then when it explodes, you see the moon piece that's stuck.
Yeah, sway back and forth.
Yeah, just little stuff like that is what reminded me of the old nostalgia of those.
Right,
old
that's right. That's what they said in the IMDb was those were they had that of the spaceship, the moon, the what was the sun, all this other stuff, and it was all in homage to 50s movies that had cheesy effects, back then.
Like all the old Vincent Price movies, and that other famous guy that played Dracula Hunter all the time.
And what about those fake, those big, huge, oversized ants in Them that was filmed in the Arizona desert out near Yuma? Everybody, Larry showed me where that was filmed.
Was the rocket that they had, before it took off, the big fake rocket, you could tell wasn't real. But when the women were throwing the giant spears.
Oh, that's my favorite. That's my favorite part of the.
God, that was so funny. I couldn't stop laughing. It was so stupid and corny.
Oh man,
it's hilarious.
You know what it reminded me of? Do you guys remember the old Johnny Quest?
Yes.
The very end of Johnny Quest, it shows you the rocket trying to get away, and the Toho Devils are throwing the spears. That is exactly what that reminds me of. And boy, those girls did not play field and track.
Yeah, you could tell. They were ducking their heads down and stuff, trying to throw it because they didn't know how. Yeah, so they didn't practice before. But what was funny too, it reminded me of the movie Caveman that you keep saying we're going to watch one day.
You need to see it. You guys need to see Caveman with Ringo Starr and Barbara Bach. That's how he met Barbara, his wife.
That's what it reminded me of. A scene, because it's dorky and dumb. The same dorkiness that I remember from that movie. So
Star Trek Continues. We review Star Trek Continues, and boy, if that show doesn't bring a tear to my eye. Oh,
well, we had a theory. We had a theory, Bruce and Janet. We discussed this also in one of my previous streams, and well, actually, I discussed it, and a lot of people agreed with me. I said that what if there was a way of proving you could take the first 3 episodes or the first 3 seasons of TOS, then you take the animated series and take parts of the animated series as making it like officially a 4th season, and then you take every single episode from Star Trek Continues, and there's season 5. And that covers everything in the original series. Everything. From like the beginning all the way into the very end, when Minona's, standing there and he says, we're done with our 5-year mission after his battle with the Espers, which, started way back on No Man Has Gone Before with Gary Mitchell and, and Sally Kellerman playing the female. And I was like, oh, wow. Yeah, it was complete. It came full circle. And that's what was so great. And everybody said, yeah, absolutely. And even Gene Roddenberry's son, who's still around, he said, Star Trek Continues is canon. My dad would have loved to add that to his shows.
Yeah, when Bruce got me to watch it, we got to watch it, the first one I was standing up and applauding because I just thought it was so good. The very first episode that I got to watch, I loved it. It was so campy and it was so... it just made me feel like I was watching original Star Trek. I mean, even though I knew it wasn't, but it had the same feel to me.
Yeah, there was that Caveman episode that featured George Takei. Oh my gosh. It's like, whoa, George. He went really, oh my gosh, he really went out for his role in that episode. And you remember it, Janet? He was all in like hair and he was like a caveman and stuff, George Takei. You remember him as Sulu, but then he's like all dressed up. Yeah, you have to.
No, I don't remember that episode. I'll have to go back and watch it. I'll probably remember it once I start to watch it.
Yeah, you got to for sure. And I'll tell you one thing for sure. The one person that kept the lineage going was Chris Doohan, the son of James. When James passed away, Chris said to James Cawley first, and then he said, and then to Vic Mignogna, and James and Vic were like kids that hung around the sets, with their dads and mom, and working and everything when they were little kids. And now they got to do this, start, phase 2, New Voyages, and then continues. And Chris Doohan said, "Hey, can I play my dad's role of Scotty?" And he says, "Absolutely," because he's like the dead reckoning image of his dad, right? So, Chris got to play that role of Scotty all through the Star Trek Continues series, the fan films. So, yeah, I was so happy.
Yeah, we watched all the episodes.
That's about as good as television has gotten, and it's so sad that it took something like Star Trek Continues to really make me want to appreciate my time with these movies even more. I do want to watch more good movies than bad, but there's still like a love I have of really bad movies. Like you'll know them when you see them. I don't really watch a lot of porn. My porn is bad movies. And so, like, when you see the really bad movies, they're like, "Oh, Bruce is watching his version of porn." Whatever it is that you really enjoy, your guilty pleasure, that's basically like something like you really could probably study an encyclopedia instead, but you're gonna watch Band of the Hand. Okay, Bruce, I see how you value an hour and 40 minutes. So fine.
Bruce, what's great too then is like Janet said, when you guys saw the first episode of Star Trek Continues, it brought back the actor who played Apollo in Who Mourns for Adonai. And I was like, God made me, I kid you not, as soon as I saw that first episode, I wanted to go back and watch the original.
Exactly.
Which had Apollo in there. And I was like, oh my God, so cool. And it made you want to do that. And I don't want to give too much away, but if you haven't seen the last two-parter of Continues where the Espers came back, but once you watch those last 2 episodes, you want to go back to No Man Has Gone Before, and where Kirk was fighting Gary Mitchell, and it was such great memories. And like I said, it definitely brings closure not only to what you saw in the original series, but what would have been the potential for it to continue as an additional season that Roddenberry wanted but never got. And then it completes it perfectly. It really does.
I
would out there. Yeah.
Yeah, it closes the gaps, which I really
by far. Like I said, if you take Turnabout Intruder, here's the thing. You take Turnabout Intruder, which is the last episode, right? Of the original series from season 3. You go from there and you go right to Continues. And it takes right from where Janice, Lester, and Kirk switch back bodies. Sorry, honey. And it goes right back to where they, switch back to their bodies, and Janice gets taken away, and it starts right from there. So if you did that, it's like season 4 right there. Yeah. It's just perfect. It is. And people say it's not canon, but like I said, Gene Roddenberry's own son said, yes, it's canon. My dad would have said so. Hey, that's good enough for me. I don't care what anybody else ever said about it. Saying it's a fan film, it's not canon. Yes, it is. It's canon.
Yeah.
Roddenberry's own son confirmed it. He was on the set. He worked with people. They dedicated lives and hours, their lives and hours, to put together great form of television. They even used the old Peacock. You remember when it was on NBC? They used that to open every episode of the series, of the fan series. I was like, whoa, that's like going back in time. It was like a time machine. It was cool. Yeah, you have to see all of them, Janet. Absolutely, you and Bruce.
Sure. We have. We've seen the
put in the chat, we've got the old link, or the link for Star Trek Continues review. Right nice. There. So awesome. To wrap up the discussion on Amazon Women from the Moon, I got to talk about some very title portion of it. The props are very 1950s-esque, actually more 1930s. Buster Crabbe, Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers-esque.
Yeah.
I loved I loved it. I know this sounds bad, but
No, I thought it was
No.
great. I loved it. And a
No, you
character, too.
remember? Yeah, you remember when Bruce Crabbe showed up as a pilot on Buck Rogers in the 25th century?
yeah, in 1979, shortly
Yeah.
before his death. Yeah, that was fantastic. And
I loved him. I mean,
this-
Buster Crabbe was my guy. Yeah, I'd watch all the serials when I was a little kid. They'd have these Saturday morning serials of, Buck Rogers and early Batman and all the stuff I was watching, as a little kid, and and Three Stooges and all this stuff. I loved all that stuff, all that old stuff.
The
Just seeing
thing
him come
is,
back
the
in
one
an
thing
episode.
about this movie that I still am trying to understand it, because it really didn't, it still hasn't clicked yet, but I'm sure it will, is why they named it Amazon Women on the Moon when so little of the movie is actually about that. Is it
Well,
because
that's
it's
good.
showing you
Maybe
what
you
it
could
was
answer,
like?
Bruce, because I could give you an idea why.
Was it because it was basically showing you what it was like when all these people were young, and how hard it was to actually watch any movie on television because of all the commercials? And now we have streaming. So
Yeah.
now that we have streaming, we don't even have to have any commercials. You can
Part of it.
record it now without a single commercial and get to sit and watch the whole thing, just like if you were at the movie theater.
It's part of it, Janet. And the main part of why they called it this is because they could not call it Kentucky Fried Sequel.
Right.
Oh,
they
that's
couldn't call
right.
it the
You did
sequel.
tell me that already. I remember
Yeah.
you telling me that. Okay.
Yeah, but the other part I'll add to that what Bruce said was also I learned that John Landis was really, even when he was putting this together, he was really into the movies like Forbidden Planet, Man on the Moon,
Robinson Crusoe.
the 50-foot, the 50-foot woman, all of, like you said, some of the even The Day the Earth Stood Still, right? The original. So he took like all of that and he said, hey, I can make a sequel to Kentucky Fried, but maybe improve upon it a little bit. And at the same time, I'm still paying homage to all these 50s and 60s films I grew up with in college when I was going, there in California, and eventually into film school, with guys like Lucas and Spielberg and all that. And he says, I could do this. He says, I could do this. So, it was a homage mostly, yeah. And it was nice. It wasn't a bad film.
My mother loved musicals, okay? So I grew up watching lots of musical stuff, like Victoria and things like that, because my mom just loved that type of stuff. So when I got to see this, it reminded me a lot of the stuff that my mother and I would watch together. But it also reminded me of things that I watched with my dad, because he liked the old campy westerns and some of the sci-fi stuff. Because my mother was never really into anything that she said, if it's not realistic, that I think it's stupid. So she didn't like Star Trek, things like that. But my dad did, and I loved it. I thought it was one of my very favorite things, that I'm just hooked on anything sci-fi. I love all of that aspect of going to space and just aliens, the movie Aliens, all the horror sci-fi, The Thing, all those things. I love all that. And if I had to pick one kind of movie that I could watch for the rest of my life, and that would be it, it'd be sci-fi. So
Sci-fi.
If they still can make any that's good, I would have to just keep watching all the old stuff. But this movie, to me, I thought they did a wonderful job at throwing a collage, basically, of an eclectic handful of just totally different stories, and then putting them all together with old commercials of selling albums, selling wares, different products to buy, things like that. And then they kept telling you that they weren't going to interrupt the movie again, even though they did. I just thought it was really, really, really good. I thought they did a great job. It reminded me of so many different things that we've all been through at some time in our life. That you're waiting for your movie to start. You've already halfway eaten all your popcorn, and we're still waiting because we're having technical difficulties.
Because you have all those delays. Yeah. Well, you remember, I think you remember in the day where they used to have, especially when you were in a drive-in theater, you had those coming attractions, and then you had the dancing popcorn, the dancing drink,
Hot
the
dog.
dancing hot
Dancing
dog.
hot dog.
I
So
love
I-
that
Eric,
stuff.
should I show that right now? That's our,
Why
Yeah,
not?
that's
go
our
for it.
typical
If you
inter-
got a thing of it, sure. Go ahead, Bruce.
that's our family-friendly intermission we have
Yeah,
during Beauties.
that we do. Yeah, during our games.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the
I
non-family.
played
Let's go to the lobby. Let's have ourselves a drink. Yeah, I remember that. Let's go to the lobby and have ourselves a drink.
Yeah.
Some popcorn and some
I
hot
don't
dogs.
remember all the because there were different ones. They had different, different little jingles that went with a different one,
Yeah.
different movie theaters. So
Okay, let's take a look. Yeah.
Tasty and refreshing snack.
Remember this? I'm sure
Yeah.
it's all
Yes, I do. With the hot butter. Yeah.
Just 6 minutes.
Pleasure, but anyone can buy lush treats like these.
it always makes you want popcorn.
Plenty of time before the movie starts, so
Right
visit
now.
our snack bar right
Look
now.
at that, like,
for
oh man,
Castleberry's pit
can't
cooked
wait.
barbecue sandwiches.
It could barbecue.
Still plenty of
Pit
time to come and
cooks.
be served at the refreshment center before showtime.
Oh
So
my God.
Show starts in 3 minutes.
Yeah, this I love this because this takes you right back to 1980, 1970.
Oh, there's so many beautiful memories back then. See all that up there. Yeah, some of my favorite times alone that I enjoyed was at a drive-in theater. And there at one time there used to be so many around the Phoenix and Scottsdale, Arizona area. And I went to one in Scottsdale, which I hope is still there because it's called Scottsdale 6. I would, it's so wide open, and I'd seen a few sci-fi movies there. There was one over in Phoenix, which was on the side of a mountain, and I actually saw one of the Star Wars films there, which was so cool. It's like all laid out and everything. But yeah, like you said before, Janet, all of those are just going away because eventually, when they're all mowed down and taken apart, which is the saddest part of our old heritage and how we enjoyed it in our times, and when that's all gone, what do we do? What do you do after that?
It'd be just like some of the things. What was that movie we watched where they were all in these little trailer houses all stacked on top of each other, and they had the Oculus?
The internet.
We own it. Ready Player One. Ready Player One.
Ready Player One. Basically, that is where we're all going to live in little tiny houses because you don't need to do anything. You have a replicator that makes your food. You have your TV that you wear on your head, and it's immersive. So
I hope we don't.
That's why I really
revert to
believe
that.
in the Matrix. I really believe that if we're not careful, we can end up just like that. But people pay to be put in this machine and just live out their whole lives with your fed and everything, and you don't really interact or do anything. It's all in here.
Yeah,
Your body
let's hope
doesn't work anything.
Yeah, let's hope that
I
doesn't
won't be
happen
around
to us.
when that happens. But I do believe that one day that could be possibly be what people want to do. They'll go and they'll sign up, and they'll have jobs and everything, technical jobs that they just use your mind for. But basically, you're just batteries. They'll collect electricity from all the people that's being fed sludge or whatever in your gut, and
that's cool.
Yeah, it's gross, but that's basically what the Matrix was just a battery to keep everything running, and the people were thinking they were living their lives because it was all in their minds. So
yeah, that's
I don't
cool.
want to live that way. That's why when you wake up, just like when they say you red pill or blue pill, if you take this one pill, you're awake. It's just like when Eve took a bite of the apple, she now had the knowledge that there was more out there than what just living in Eden and doing running and frolicking around. There was a real world out there. So you can either take a bite and live the real world, or you can go and be in the fantasy world. It's your choice.
No, I want to live in the reality. No fantasy.
That's because you lived it. But if you'd never lived in reality, and then you did, all of a sudden were taken out of it and given a small portion of what reality was, you might decide to go back. So, that's why I thought The Matrix was such a good movie. It's because it had so many aspects of real life and the possibilities.
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you. We own them. We actually own all four. We got Matrix Revolution or Resurrection, the fourth one. Yeah, we just got that, so we have all 4. Yeah,
I haven't seen that one
yeah,
yet.
she's a big fan of Matrix. Yeah, Janet loves Matrix.
What her second daughter's name is?
Oh yeah, our second daughter's. We have 2 cats, right? And our second daughter's name is Deja Vu from
Hmm.
the Matrix.
really?
The black cat
Yeah.
that was on the stairwell. Yes, we named her Deja Vu.
Yeah,
From
we
the
all have
film.
that at some point in time in our
Yeah.
lives. It's a real thing.
The last thing I'm going to ask, if the party that's in chat right now, people from Twitter, people from YouTube, everybody, give us your scores for the Amazon Women on the Moon.
Yes.
And I want to hear either, A plus, B plus, 1 out of 10, 1,000%, whatever your rating is, we'll read it aloud. We will read it aloud. The other thing is that the last 2 pieces I want to talk about is the B movie queens that were in this film.
Yes.
About
There were a lot of them.
Monique Gabrielle, the young miss from the first part of the movie, that she's also in Deathstalker 2, a very fine bad movie from Argentina. Then you've also got Sybil Danning, who was a screen queen, a B movie queen, and she was supposed to be the lead female in Octopussy, but that went to Maud Adams instead. I don't know why.
Well, Maud Adams was
Maybe
also
she kissed
not
somebody
only
else and she wouldn't sleep with the right person. Because that
Well, I
happens a
don't think
lot.
it was
You
that.
go in, you get picked out of 5 people to have a part, and you go in and you get talked to, and you find out later on by one of the secretaries, or they say, "Well, you look too much like his ex-wife." That's the only reason why you didn't get the part. So I mean,
well,
the
Maud Adams,
director
okay,
is
well, I
always right. So it doesn't matter if you're the very best actress or actor. If the director doesn't want you for whatever the reason, you won't get it.
I'm just
yeah,
saying,
Maud
Sybil Danning.
Adams. Yeah, I just want to tell you a quick thing about Maud Adams. Now, I know she did The Man with the Golden Gun, and then she went ahead and did Octopussy. So she did 2 films. But she was also uncredited in a background scene from A View to a Kill. She's on a San Francisco street when Roger Moore gets off the golden, the car itself, and he gets off, and she's in the background. She's there, but it's uncredited. So she actually appeared in 3 films. I just wanted to clarify that point. But yeah, when Sybil was trying to get it, the thing was is that Maud Adams, at that time when she came in, Maud Adams was not only a regular actress, she was also a floor model and a display hand model. So apparently, when they did what do they call it, the interplay between Moore and her, the chemistry just clicked. Like, it didn't really click for Sybil, and maybe I'm not sure why, but I know that when Maud and Moore acted together in their what is that word, Janet, the one I'm missing, that it, before they go together on screen, it's like
Chemistry?
well, not just chemistry, it's it's their actors. I forget it. Oh
Like
man.
chemistry? On-screen chemistry?
Yeah, well,
No,
yeah,
he
they had the
wasn't really
chemistry,
that.
but it was like a rehearsal. They give it another name for besides being a rehearsal. It was like a audition. That's it. So they had an audition tape.
So when they're going out for the parts,
Exactly. So
once they're
when
acting,
Maud
they're
came
picked,
in,
don't
right,
call it
right. So when Maud came in, she was already familiar with, Lois Maxwell, that played Moneypenny. She knew some of the people that actually worked on a few of the older films with Connery. So she really wanted to be a part of it. She was really trying to get herself into the role. And when they did the audition tapes with her and Moore, you could see that automatic chemistry. It was just like right there. Which is why when she came back for Octopussy, and Moore was still acting as James Bond, he asked her back to be in that film. That's why she came back for a second time. Yeah,
Not bad. I mean,
yeah,
she's not a slouch in the looks, but I like Sybil
Oh
Danning.
no, she's great looking. Yeah, no, she was back then. Still is kind of now, except of course she's older, but it happens. We all get older.
Then you've got
Okay,
Sybil.
go ahead, Bruce. So you were saying about grades and stuff?
Yeah, we got Sybil Danning as the queen, and she's also been in some other really great films. Just to name a few, we'll just take the top 4 off of IMDb. Battle Beyond the Stars, which is amazing schlock. She plays Saint X-Men. She's in Halloween from 2007 as Nurse Wynn. She was Adriana in Hercules from 1983, and she played in The Three Musketeers. One of my favorites that she did right before this, there was a little-known film called Warrior Queen, which I got to see on USA all night with, I think it was Gilbert Gottfried. And she's also in Howling Part 2, Your Sister's a Werewolf, which is not a good movie.
I love the Howling movies.
But that's such a good movie for physical effects, so I gotta say I love that film. And I mean, it was such a good cheesy movie. I liked it. She's in a lot of bad movies. She was in Street Hawk. You remember Street Hawk, kids?
Oh yeah, Street Hawk. Yeah, I do.
Fucking Knight Rider. And then the sadness part about this movie is Lana Clarkson played Alpha Beta, I believe is her name. And Lana Clarkson was the young buxom lady who she was an up-and-comer, and she died not too long into the 2000s thanks to Phil Spector, the record producer, shot her.
Oh, yes. Phil Spector murdered her, didn't he? Yeah.
Yes,
yeah, he's the one with the crazy hair.
Yep.
Yep, that's him.
I thought it was a wig.
He's the one. He's the one who almost ruined. Phil Spector was the one who almost ruined the Beatles' last album.
Yeah, I basically consider he did ruin the last album because it just sounds like shit.
Okay, there we go. Thank you, Bruce.
That was her with the Farrah Fawcett hairstyle.
Oh, yes. Now, Bruce, I'm glad I found a kindred spirit who agrees that Phil Spector destroyed the last Beatles album. Yeah, before they got back together in '94. So, yeah.
He died on February 3rd, 2003. Phil Spector got arrested. Drug his feet on that. I mean, you want to, if you guys want to get away with murder, be rich. Just be rich, okay? It took him 6 years.
Was he drunk or something when it happened?
Jealous. He was jealous. He threatened so many girls with a gun throughout his career, Janet. That
I remember seeing something about that, but I didn't watch it or anything.
Well, he threatened. According to his history, he did threaten some major stars that were coming up in Motown. You know, I think he went after Diana Ross. He went after Anita Ward. He went after like a bunch of even Tina Turner got some of his wrath. You know, when she split from Ike, and I was like, oh, just crazy stories you would hear about Phil, but you never believed them. And then, of course, as soon as women were coming forward, you know, not from just music like backgrounds, but from actresses, actual actresses that met him. And they were all telling you horror stories. And you had to start believing, like, wait, maybe this guy is insane and, you know, did all this stuff. And then, of course, he kills that you know, beautiful young actress. So, yeah, it just.
See, I couldn't remember why. I thought it was an accident that he dropped the gun or something like that. And that's why he shot her, because he just looked like a skinny little dweeby weirdo, you know? Right. So I just saw snapshots here and there. I didn't really pay that much attention to any of it.
Yeah, the only thing that separates him from OJ, who just recently passed, the only thing that separates him is the fact he got caught, but OJ didn't. So take that what you will, but that's the thing, you know. That's
OJ was supposed to be the Terminator. Do you realize that, Mikey?
What's that?
When they wrote the script for the Terminator, O.J. Simpson was supposed to be the Terminator.
He was, yeah.
Yeah, but I guess apparently he was supposed to be the Terminator, but apparently the casting director and everybody involved at the early stages didn't think O.J. could pull it off. Neither did a judge.
Right. That's right. Now, you know what? We see him. Suzanne and I own a lot of good films, and we own the Naked Gun series with Leslie Nielsen, who also passed away, unfortunately. But we own those 3 films, and they have to be the funniest films I've seen in a long time, other than like Airplane and Airplane 2, which, of course, by the way, featured Shatner. He says, "Why doesn't somebody tell me about these things?" And then he opens up the thing. He plays Roger Murdoch. Oh
Mhm.
yeah, he's hilarious in that one.
Really, Jack?
I love
Yeah,
it.
Shatner. He was in the second one when they were on the moon, and he opens up. Why doesn't somebody tell me about these things? And it's just a bridge, sir.
Richard or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, anyway, so like I said, with the Naked Gun films, Drebin, of course, played by Nielsen, and then they had OJ was the detective in the group there in Police Squad, which were great, little things. You remember Police Squad, right, Bruce? Oh my gosh,
I do, sure.
funny as hell, especially with the siren that's going through the streets and go dun 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 dun
So do you want me to read?
yeah. Yes,
Do you want me to
absolutely.
read the scores?
Yeah,
Yes.
You
let's go.
have- Okay, Flady has graded a solid 6.5. And he said, yeah, it was a close to Russ Meyer's flick for the volume of titties.
We
Oh,
love
boy.
these.
I thought that was funny. And
Oh,
then
that's
Six
funny.
Nation says 69% for the nude bit, 65% overall. Nice nostalgia trip, great detail, and past. It wasn't stale like some old comedies, more like day-old bakery type stuff. It was funny, corny, and entertaining. That's great. I love that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Kristen. That was good. And then I'm just going to give it a solid 7.0 out of 10.
I'll go you one
That's
better.
my
I
score.
gave it actually a 7.5 out of 10. And back in the day when I saw it, I actually gave it a B plus because I thought it was pretty funny. But I was biased because later on, because before, like I said, I had seen the airplane films and thought they were absolutely hilarious. And those came out before this did, I believe. And then it was just like, there's been a few other funny comedies. There's Click with Adam Sandler and Kate Beckinsale. We own it, and it's a great comedy and a great drama too. And I mean, it's just Amazon Women, I would say, in my estimation, fell kind of in the middle, and that's really not fair because I think it could have been a standalone film. So yeah, that was my score. I would have gone 7.5.
Well, one thing I would like to see us do, if it's a movie that one of us hasn't seen, Bruce, I think we should watch the trailer. Can we show the trailer at the end of our show for the next week for the movie that we're going to watch? Because I went in this totally blind, because I was thinking it was about, when I looked up set photos for Amazon Women on the Moon, I was looking for pictures of the women from Mars or from the moon. And it wasn't anything at all. I was totally shocked when Arsenio Hall opened up and he was going through all the bad luck and stuff, because I was like, what's going on? This has nothing to do with Amazon Women on the Moon. So it kind of threw me for a loop, basically, because I wasn't prepared, because I had no idea that it was a spoof, basically, movie, with commercials and things like that from a bad movie being shown on television. See what I mean?
Yeah.
So
right before
yeah.
we
and you'd seen it before, though, right?
What?
You had seen this movie before?
Part of it. I didn't get to see all of it.
I'd never seen it. I'd never even heard of it, basically. So,
well, let's take a look, because let's see if I've seen it. I've seen lots of films, so yeah, let's take a look at the trailer there, Bruce.
What trailer did you want to look at? The one for next week or no?
yeah, what are we doing next week? I don't remember.
Well, next week, this is your choice, not mine. I'm not trying to say anything negative here. Hold on, guys.
Oh no, it's another movie you don't want to watch.
We got to do. Let me read.
Excited! Yay! It's a
Fair
good
use
one.
is a doctrine in the United States law that permits limited use of copyright material without having to first acquire permission from the copyright holder. Fair use. Hey, YouTube, fucking listen to me, you cunt. Fair use is one of the limitations to copyright intended to balance interests of copyright holders with the public interest in the wider distribution and use of creative works by allowing as defense to copyright infringement claims that certain limited uses might otherwise be considered infringement. U.S. fair use doctrine is generally broader than fair dealing rights known in most countries that inherit English common law. The fair use right is a general exception that applies to all different kinds of uses with all types of works. In the U.S., fair use right exception is based on a flexible proportionality test that examines the purpose of the use, the amount used, and the impact on the market of the original work. This is all derived from the 1700s BS of legalese. So with that being stated, let me go to this right here, cars on the vocals. And I think this is going to be a very interesting film to watch. We'll be doing the
Seen it?
What?
You haven't seen it?
Nope.
Oh, I'm excited then. I'm so excited. This is a good movie. The best for us in Texas.
Yeah. Have you seen it yourself, Janet? Have you seen it? Have you seen it, Jane?
Many times. It was one of my mom's favorite movies. She loved Burt Reynolds. She loved Dolly Parton. And
this is definitely one of my mom's favorite movie musicals too.
Yeah. So,
some questionable stuff.
My mom watched lots of musicals with me. It's like I said, Victor Victoria was one of them. This is one of them. And there's a few others, 9 to 5, and a few others that my mom just got me hooked to them. So I'm excited about Bruce getting to see this because I don't know why. We were talking about Burt Reynolds about some other movie, and we were talking about Burt Reynolds, and that's when I said, "Oh, we need to watch that movie with Burt Reynolds. It's called 9 to 5 with Dolly Parton. I think that it's to be a good movie to put on the list." It was a while back though, so I don't know.
Now wasn't Burt Reynolds in Studio 54? If you think of a more modern.
I don't know. I didn't see that one, so I don't.
Yeah, I believe he was in there with Mike Myers, if I remember correctly. I think it was Burt Reynolds, one of his last films he did before he passed, if I recall correct. I'd have to look it up myself.
Brett,
I think he was in that.
Brett saying that loved Rhinestone with Stallone and Dolly. I hadn't seen that one.
That's a good one. I've seen that one too. Yes, it is good. And you know what? What you're surprised by is you didn't think Sly Stallone could sing. Well, he held his own with Dolly. So yeah, good stuff.
Stallone is the ultimate man for Tinseltown. As much as I don't like his politics, which I don't like anybody's politics but my own, even people that are on my side, I like the fact that he can edit, he can film, he can cast, he can direct. He can produce. He can completely handle all aspects in front and behind the camera. He doesn't have a weak point. He's a great performer. I think that is so much of what's missing in today's world. When we see somebody that's actually got a little smidgen of talent, we get like envious of them because we can't do that. Well, I'm not envious of Taylor Swift because she can gather millions of idiots called Swifties. I'm envious of the fact that like they would have something young and pretty with zero substance instead of having something that would like have some actual substance. We don't have women that sing like Dolly Parton in today's society. We have women that aspire to look like Dolly Parton in today's society, but then they get trashy and start to twerk everywhere, and then the entire culture is just shot to shit. Sorry, kids, but I can't wait to see this movie.
But yes, Sylvester Stallone. You're talking about Sylvester Stallone, right?
I am.
Yeah.
Okay. He can also write because he wrote a few of the movies that
he wrote Rocky.
He wrote the screenplay for Rocky, the original Rocky.
Very talented when it comes to anything to do with Hollywood. And his brother, I'm sure, has tried many, many times to fit into that genre. Somehow he just cannot.
Frank is a better singer. His brother Frank is actually a better singer than actor. So Sly says, as long as Frank is singing and I'm acting, we're fine. That's what he said. I heard him say it in an interview. I was like, okay.
I'm looking forward to this next week, Bruce, a lot.
I would love to join you, Janet and Bruce.
I'm going to do whatever I have to make sure I'm in the Discord with you when you watch this movie, because I just want to hear your reaction to it, because this is a really good movie. If anybody has seen it or hasn't seen it, that's in the chat, and you would like to watch it with us next Sunday in Bruce's Discord. We always watch the movie before we review it. So I don't know for sure what time. You'll have to keep an eye on his channel about what his plans are, but you can join us. It's a lot of fun. Six Nations was there today too, wasn't he?
Yep, Six Nations and Flavey.
And Flavey was in there. So we have some people that try to come every week and watch with us. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not so good, but it's fun because you get to hang out with each other and we talk and we laugh, and depending on what's going on. So it's a lot of fun if you haven't done it.
I really do. I'm looking forward to this because I like Burt Reynolds a lot. The more I see him in films, the more I really enjoy his body of work. And what a great treasure he left us, to be able to watch him 2 or 3 hours at a time. I think he's just fantastic in the films I've seen him in. This I expect to be no less. This is what I expect to see. Oh, my final rating for today's show, Amazon Women from the Moon. Yeah, I know I need to be a better shitlord. I'm sorry. I need to say this, that we watched Spaceballs, and the more I think about Spaceballs, the lower it rates. I hate to say that because that was a fun movie when I was a young kid, but I didn't really have a good basis of what was great. Mel Brooks. I hadn't seen the entire Mel Brooks library yet. You want to see that when you're at a few different stages in life. And Spaceballs just didn't hold up. I want to say it now probably is around a 55 or 58%. There's some really good parts of it. It completely falls apart for me as a comedy or as anything that might be considered plot driven. There's some great special effects there that holds me to it. A lot of the other items in that movie, like Daphne Zuniga, whatever her name is, she could have been played by any brunette. Sorry, Janet, you're completely right.
I agree. Daphne Zuniga, yeah, she could have been played by anyone. Her part for sure.
Yeah, she had a,
But to be fair,
that was one of the remarks I made last time. Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't replace the voice of Joan Rivers for Dot Matrix. That was great casting. That was great casting. Loved her.
I want to say this movie's a solid 70 or 72 for me. I mean, for a lot of people, like, oh, that's low. Why isn't it 10 out of 10 or 100%? No, this is an easy 3.5 star film for me because in light of all the things that were going on at the time, the fact it got made the way it was, the fact that it was as zany as it is, and it completely preserves the 80s style of comedy, which this had probably been lingering in a producer's, the script was lingering somewhere in a desk somewhere, and I don't see it where they directed it fresh. This was hanging around since late 70s, and they were like, man, I want to do something like Laughing or SCTV. What the fuck, man? And I could see them gnashing teeth, trying to figure out how they could make this their own. And once it all started falling together, like, we'll get 5 different directors. It'll be a real short time for us to film it all. And then, bam, there we go, instant money. And then the more they played with it, the more like, I don't know if this is going to work or not. John Landis is attached to it. And finally they said, well, it's going to just be easier for us to release this on home video and cable. And they only made $500,000 out of $5 million. So I got to say, as much as like they may have lost money, I think over the course of time, a lot of people that hear about this film or they watch this film, they see the star list, they see the skits. If they have an appreciation for movies that were made at the time, they will value this movie a lot more than if they were like, oh, the oldest comedy I watch is Something About Mary, and that movie there barely qualifies. There's a lot of gross out comedy. The guy cuts his balls in his zipper. If that's their fucking opinion, they're a garbage individual. They just need to stay on TikTok, and that's all they can say.
Yeah. I have to say, though, one thing great about Mel Brooks is, and we only have a few films, and gosh, I hope that Suzanne and I can get the whole collection, like every film he's ever put out. The great thing about Mel Brooks I've always found is that if you have a terrible day, I mean, absolutely terrible, could be the worst possible day of your life or your terrible week, and all of a sudden you put in one of those Mel Brooks, like say, for example, Robin Hood Men in Tights, and you're happy again.
That's a great
happy
movie.
Again. They're like, oh my God, just so much good stuff. Yeah, just funny. It's good to be the king.
Yeah, it's good to be the king. I like that. I like the History of the World Volume 1, of course, Young Frankenstein and Blazing Saddles. But there's really, I'm having a hard time. Like, I guess my 5th favorite Brooks film would be The Producers, and those are my top 5 Mel Brooks movies. The Producers from 1973 or 72 is better.
Oh yeah, who didn't like The Producers? And that had Zero Mostel, and I'm like, whoa, okay, cool.
It's a very good film. If you've not seen it, we'll probably have to watch that in the future because that's one that not a whole lot of people have seen. And I think that giving the people the opportunity to view it again is definitely a must do because that is such a fun movie. Who doesn't love fucking dance?
And Tree Rock Creations there, I want to address his real quick when he say he liked Blazing Saddles. Well, don't forget that in Robin Hood Men in Tights, they said, a black sheriff. And the guy says, yeah, I worked in Blazing Saddles. He broke the fourth wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And said that in the movie, and I was like, wow. I was like, Mel just he went to the well, but he didn't have to go too often. He's such a comic genius, and well, he's like he's almost as old as Shatner right now, right? He's like in his
95. He's
yeah,
95.
yeah, he's older than Shatner. Then wow, yeah. Oh yeah, History of the World Part 1, and wait, History of the World Part 2.
I haven't seen that yet. I need to at some point, but I'm worried because it was made in 2023, and I don't know if I
Yeah, I'm a little worried about that myself.
I had a friend tell me that he said, I wanted to like Ghostbusters, the Frozen whatever threat, whatever that was.
Frozen Empire, it was very good. Yes, Suzanne and I saw it recently. It's very good. We liked the movie. I thought it completed everything, made a complete closure of the franchise. It was perfect.
My friend said he's like, I think it should have been 12 episodes on Netflix or Hulu because there's a lot they throw at you and it doesn't really tie up that neatly. A series would have been better produced.
Maybe if it was done right, but they didn't have the capable enough writers to put together a series, Bruce. That's why they only did the film. That was my understanding.
Okay, I mean, if that's the case, that's the case. But I just, from everything I've heard, and I've not seen it yet, I'm not going to see it because, no offense, I hated Afterlife.
I loved Afterlife. I'm sorry. I loved Afterlife. It was great. We owned it. So it's a perfect homage to Harold Ramis, and that's what it is. Harold Ramis tribute film. That's all it is. That's all.
I'll invite you back for our Afterlife. We're going to do that in October.
Cool.
Because we're gonna definitely watch that, and I'm gonna analyze it. Right now, my biggest problem is the female Wesley Crusher Velma wannabe in it, and
yeah, McKenna Grace. Yeah,
everybody says that about her. Everybody says that about her because of her glasses. It's because her dad is.
It's okay. I'm okay with her being nearsighted or unable to see because her dad was unable to see. There, if you look at World War II history,
her grandpa. That was her grandpa, not her dad. But yeah, okay.
Grandpa. I sent you something, Bruce, in Discord, because I was going to talk about what I got planned for this next week.
Yes.
Okay. Because I got the normal Friday night shit show on Friday at 9:10 Central Time. But I have a new show that I'm going to try out with somebody that used to be in radio, and he helped me make a little video to talk about it because we're going to do it Thursday night it's going to be 8 Central, but 9 his time, which is he's an hour ahead of me. So we're going to try it out and see if it works.
I'll be happy to listen to it Friday morning at 2 a.m.
So I sent you a video so you could play it on here because I have it on my YouTube channel and I have it on my my Rumble, my other stuff too. So because it'll be aired on X, YouTube, and on Rumble when we do the show.
All right, let me share.
Yeah, I saw that about Eddie Murphy, and Ernie Hudson is much better doing that role. Yeah. Much better doing Winston Zeddemore.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is my tidings great news. Starting Thursday, April 19th, 9 p.m. Eastern, join Chef, Planet, and myself, the Emperor, with the Shit Show 2.0. 60 minutes of based and informative opinions on today's news, gaming, internet trends, and literally anything else that entertains us. So mark the calendars, clear your schedules, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell the fat kid who brings you donuts about the Shit Show 2.0, the best hour you'll spend all week. We'll see you this Thursday, every Thursday, at 9 p.m. on Rumble, YouTube, and of course, X.
Okay, thank you.
Not a problem. I look forward to seeing what you do in the future because I know that you are going to be. If you continue in social media, you're going to be amazing. That's just how it is.
I'm only doing this, like I said, I'm only going to do stuff that I want to do. Anything that, to talk about things that I think are important, child trafficking stuff. I'll have to do that on Rumble because we already know that I can't really do much on YouTube. They don't really like it when you push any buttons or envelopes. So. But and then Saturday, I'll be here on Bruce's channel again, and Bruce can tell everybody what we're planning on doing next weekend.
Next weekend is the Alpha Group continuation as the party continues to delve through the city of Stoneholm. It will be an interesting day as we attempt to see what other mysteries lay in wait for the party as they try to unfurl what has gone on before. And why is the city having the problems with the forces of darkness and a cult dedicated to disbatter the Devil Lord? Why are they so interested within this little dwarven community? And I'm looking very forward to that session of our Alpha Group campaign. If you enjoy live plays, I do recommend you take a good listen. Our friends, Six Nation 31 Kings, Lady One Gaming, the Crafting Gamer, and potentially Connell from Cigar DM. He will be here as well. Thank you.
And I'll make sure that I know I'm already subbed to Janet's channel. We are Mikey Sue's 4, and we have content. We do reviews of A-Team on Tuesday afternoons at 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 Central. We do a concept show I came up with, a webcam show called Mikey TV, which is on Mondays, same time at 4 Eastern, 3 Central, where we discuss topic of the day or the week, and also we recommend a DVD or Blu-ray from our collection of movies we have, and also we take questions from the chat. So that's available on Mondays. Wednesdays, we also do a review of The Greatest American Hero. I just did a binge watch of all 45 episodes. There were 44 of the original, but then there was a 45th episode where they were going to have a woman become the greatest American hero, and it didn't quite work out. So I'll be able to discuss all of those. We're currently on season 1. And then on Thursdays, we do a joint review. My friend Jay Aldridge and I, we review the shows of Shazam and The Secrets of Isis, which came out on Saturday mornings in the mid-70s. So that's at the same time. And then Fridays, of course, the last 2 Fridays we've done what they call topic times. And we did nostalgia times on last Friday, and this past Friday, yesterday, or the other Friday, we did a 1-year celebration of Suzanne and I's channel. And we celebrated us being on the air here on YouTube for over a year. So, yeah, it's lots of fun. We're taking some time off for the next 2 weeks because we're celebrating our 8-year wedding anniversary next Friday. So, but we will be back May 4th and the first Monday, and we'll kick off everything. So, yeah, please check us out. And, like for Bruce and Janet and us, please like that button, hit that subscribe. Don't forget to share the videos with all your friends, and also please hit that notify bell, ding, 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 and you can be aware and notified of any future events. So I think that covers us. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
And congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much.
Good luck.
Yeah.
I hope you have a great May 4th, or may the 4th be with you, Mikey.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Well, we're going to do a Star Wars topic, actually, because May 5th is when, Star Wars will be celebrating its, officially, its 47th anniversary. So in May, we'll be doing that. That's when we come back, will be May 4th. So, yes, when I do Monday's Mikey TV, that'll be the first thing we'll talk about is the Star Wars phenomenon. 47 years and kicking. Yes. Absolutely. Oh, thank you, Nations. And I like the comment that Travis made before. He said that the Scottsdale 6 drive-in still exists. So I was like, "Whoa, yay!"
Yeah,
Well, as I said, there are a few.
Yeah.
That can make money, but they've got to be able to pay, all their bills and everything for it to be worth being open.
Well, I think also, Janet, have you ever seen it yourself? Have you been in Scottsdale, Arizona before?
Yeah, I've been there, but I've not been to that theater or anything. No.
That particular drive-in? Okay. Well, it's iconic. It's been there since the early 1960s. So that drive-in's been there for at least over 60 years, at least. And they've made
Now it's an
improvements over the
icon, right?
years.
So
What's that?
it's like an icon now, and that's in
It
that city.
is. Yeah,
So
it's the
its
only,
chances
well, it's
of
the only
staying
one of its
open are high.
kind. That's right. It's the only one of its kind in central Arizona. There was one other, and I don't know if it's still there, but up north on the way to Flagstaff, Arizona, they have one in a town. I think it's over near what they call Camp Verde. And they used to have a drive-in there, and I don't know if that's still there or if it was down in Prescott. But I know the one in Scottsdale is iconic. It's been there, and it was owned by Harkins Theaters. My friend Larry knew Dan Harkins personally, and I mean, he's the one who opened the Cine Capri in Phoenix, and then he moved it to Northeast Phoenix, and they brought over those big, huge red carpet type curtains. You remember that would open, when a movie was, coming on, and that's definitely beautiful nostalgia. That's a lot of stuff we got to see. So, yeah. So thanks, Travis. Thank you, Travis J. Yeah, that's good that it's still there. Yeah.
All right. So for everybody here at the Bruce Lombardo Dix Division trailer and part with Mikey Sue's 4 and Janet from Another Planet, please visit our other socials that will be available. If you are not already a member, I do suggest you do subscribe to Janet from Another Planet. She is turning into a local, I guess you'd say, like a burgeoning YouTube information, right? I wouldn't say YouTube. I would say just social media star. And I think the more that she's able to help illuminate the truth and things that are going out there, I think the better off everybody around her is going to be. Be sure to take care of your children, your families. Make sure you do everything you can to keep the food on your table, which means that you need to prepare for the things that are unforeseen ahead. My name is Bruce Lombardo. Everybody, have a great and wonderful Sabbath, and we will see you next week. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much, Bruce and Janet, again, for having me today.